Wow. Hey, pura vida, mi gente. Much love and respect. Thank you for tuning in once again, making the time to be here. Appreciate you guys always. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. What's up? What's up? Today we're just gonna go ahead and try to continue to finish off the article we were reading the other day. Yeah, I took well, yesterday I was really busy, so I ended up having no time to go live, but I'm gonna definitely get through the article today. Okay, this is part 2. 2 days ago we did part 1, and we got so much drop from the article, but also in general we went over a lot of things from past videos, a lot of good research we've done, a lot of corroboration, a lot of proof showing America's the true old world, showing the influence of ancient Americans in the ancient world. We kind of did a little summary. So, as we read today, we'll probably do that again. I appreciate you guys being here. No matter if it's just a little bit of you guys, we're going to get started. I know other people are live. Everybody's over there, talking about debating and stuff and just entertaining people about the same stuff all over again. But we're gonna go ahead and do our thing here and get right into the video. Okay, so whoever's here is here. Again, guys, let me just go ahead and so this is again part 2. All right, the other day we did part 1, which is this one right here, American Antiquities, the New World. We went over its influence to so-called ancient Egypt and so-called Babylon, right? That was part 1. We had a lot of good drop on part 1. If you missed it, you missed it. Like, it was really good. I do suggest you guys watch part 1 first. Even if I'm live, I really suggest you guys watch part 1 or try to watch part 1 at least at some point if you missed it. Okay, I know a lot of people have, because we got 164,000, only 4,000 views on that video. So a lot of you guys didn't watch it. So make sure to check it out. All right, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay, over 8 years here, over 1,100 videos. All right, so if you're new to the channel, make sure to catch up. You're gonna be so informed if you do, and you are missing out on a lot of research we've done that rewrites history, that shows you the true history of the world and debunks all those other theories. All right, okay, so welcome. All right, welcome back. We back. So we're gonna go ahead and get started again on this article. The name of the article is American Antiquities, or the New World, the Old. All right, the New World is actually the old, and the so-called Old World is actually very new. It's the New World. They told us history in reverse, guys. They told us history in reverse. And it's so interesting that I find an article written in 1868 that is literally saying what we have been proving in the last 8 years. Shout out to everybody that has been helping proving this. America's a true old world. Shout out to everybody out there, whether on YouTube or in the mainstream. Okay. This article is by John T.C. Heaviside. Okay. And again, this is from 1868. Imagine, 1868. Somebody was saying this way back in 1868. Okay, imagine that. And here we are, over almost 200 years later, Until now, remembering, until now, corroborating this research. Okay, we're gonna go over to page 20 of this article. Let me just. In this part, it's gonna be talking about its influence in ancient India or Hindustan, right? Hindustan. That's what it was called, Hindustan, and before that, Bharat. So if you guys don't know, India just got its name, right? In the 1900s. Like, it's like, what do you mean, Kurimeo? Hold up. Oh, we went over some stuff the other day. Let's see if we can get it. I know I used to say it's they be changing these things up sometimes. They be changing this stuff sometime. India. Okay, there we go. So the Indian subcontinent, blah 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 blah. Been down here. I just want you to see from 1947 in reference to the Republic of India. That's when actually that place got its name, guys. 1947. 1947. So when we're reading these ancient texts and old books from the 1800s, before 1947, from the 1700s, or ancient texts referring to, oh, he came from India. What India were they really talking about? Okay, remember we have videos on the three Indias, right? There was a reference of the three Indias. Shout out to Drop again. Shout out to Drop again. India, the country or Republic of India just got its name. Just got its name in the 1900s. So what you mean India? What you mean Columbus named us Indians because he was lost? We already debunked all that. America is India superior. America is the original India superior. Oh, Asia greater, right? They got Asia minor. Well, this is Asia greater. Okay. Gonna go over a lot of things today. One of the things is the Nagas again. You know, we got so much drop on the Nagas. Who were the ancient Nagas, right? These were ancient Americans related to what they call in the Mayas, right? People of Central America. Part 10, Untold Ancient American Truth. Let me just show you. How old is this video?
Atención real, respuestas rápidas.
Sorry about that. So look, 5 years ago, part 10, Untold Ancient American Truth. The ancient Nagas are the Maya. Okay? The ancient Nagas are the Maya. We went over so much drop, guys. Okay? And Augustus Lepler Jones book and so much stuff more. Make sure to catch these older videos, get a refresh. Right? Ancient Nagas founded Egypt, Negro Buddha, Lemuria in Mexico, William Niven's Lost History. There's so much, you know, so much. On part 13, Untold Maya Naga, ancient from Cholula. Look at that. That's an artifact from Cholula. Looking like he got the Egyptian headdress. Vestiges of the Maya. We got a whole series on that. You know, we read, you know, research into the lost history of America and so on and so on. We got so much drop. So much drop. America, aka Atlantis, Phoenicia, Canaan. I mean, we just went over that on part 1. Again. So much drop that you're missing out on. Make sure to catch up, guys. Make sure to catch up. Again, we're gonna go page 20 of this article and in reference to India. Let's see what it has to say. It says India. If we turn to the most prominent historical facts recorded in the ancient histories of India, right, or Hindustan, we may learn from them that a great race, existing somewhere in the northeast, at various times sent forth powerful bodies, who occasionally attacked the most western and southern parts of the old world, right? They're talking about that side over there. Remember, that's the new world. So they're saying there was a lot of stories of people invading Hindustan from the northeast. Where did these invaders be called Scythians, right? The Scythians are the same as the Sakai. The Sakai Buddha, it was actually referred to from the nation of the Sakai or Scythians or Saxons. Same people became the Saxons. We're just talking about the sons of Isaac. Sons of Isaac. So whether these invaders would be called Scythians or Hyksos or Huns or Saracens, the sons of Sarah, Saracens, still it was from the northeast that they came, carrying destruction before them by the edge of the sword. It was from this stock, or from another still further behind, that a people appeared to have entered India by the north, destroying the power of its original inhabitants. So these people were invading other people that were already in this place in Hindustan, the original inhabitants. Who were these original inhabitants? And driving them to the south. The original race, so dispossessed, is known as the Naga. Who is the Naga? The Naga, huh? Negus. Negros, Naga. Or Tak. Or snake race, huh? The snake race, huh? The snake race, or the Khans, right? The Khan, snake race. What did we go over the other day? When we're talking about snake kings? Maya? See what we get. Archaeology news, Mayan snake kings were found after breakthrough. Look at that. Were found after breakthrough. This is stuff they're just learning in recent years, guys. Look, 2019. How lost Mayan snake kings were found after breaking through El Mirador floor. El Mirador, you're talking about El Mirador, La Danta Pyramid, the tallest pyramid in the world. The tallest pyramid. Okay, what did they find, huh? What did they find? Let's see what it says.
Inside the pit, ancient capstones are protecting a
I can't really show that has music, but you guys get it. Mysterious Maya snake kings and their powerful kingdom in the jungle. Snake kings, huh? Just like the Sioux. Don't Sioux mean snake? Remember the plum serpent? The plum serpent? Mysterious Maya snake kings and their powerful kingdom in the jungle reveal more ancient secrets. The Snake Kings, the Snake Dynasty, Snake Queen Cabell, Snake Queen Cabell, one of the greatest queens of classic Maya civilization. We got a whole video on her. Lady Cabell. Okay? She's from El Peru, Huaca. That's what the site is called in Mexico, the Maya city. Let me just zoom in on this, right? Just like Wakanda. Her remains were found during the excavations of the Royal Maya city, El Peru Huaca, in northwestern Petén, Guatemala. This was a significant discovery because the unearthed tomb belonged to a notable historical figure. Not just, not just mythology, guys. That's the other thing we went over in part 1, that the origin of stuff, you can find it here in America. But when it comes to Egypt and Babylon, there's no origin to their mythology. It just came out of nowhere. It's just like a legacy. They try to make us think, don't worry about it. Maybe the aliens did it. Maybe it was the aliens. We don't know. It's so mysterious. We don't know. Yes, you do. You just don't want to tell us. Their origins go back to the Americas, guys. We went over that the other day. I hope you guys didn't miss the video. Make sure to catch part 1. All right? Make sure to catch part 1. Welcome, welcome. Let's go back. So we got Snake Kings, right? Snake Queens, Snake Kings, hidden tombs of the Snake Kings beneath the Maya pyramid, huh? They're still unearthing all this right now as we speak, guys, with their lighter technology. They just found all this stuff. So when somebody's writing something in 1868, even though he did a great job and he is corroborating with what we have learned the last couple years, he was missing a lot of context too that would have helped him definitely be more convinced as to what he was finding and writing about. Okay, so imagine that, guys. You guys gotta talk about think about all this stuff. I was once a Pan-African, but I followed the truth. Can't let our ego. Everybody was a Pan-African. They tell everybody that we all came out of Africa. Don't worry about that. Like, but that was based on a belief, right? Not something you knew. Right? We ain't talking about Anunnakis. Anybody mentioned the Anunnaki? No, we're not talking about Anunnaki. Let's get back to the article. So again, this original race that was in Hindustan were known as the Naga or snake race, huh? Snake race, right? Snake king, snake race. Come on now. Make sure to watch the old videos. We've broken this down. He's literally talking about videos and research we've done already. This is the 1868. That's what's up. Check Wills, welcome. Hope you guys enjoyed part one. It says here the invaders, who somewhere about 2600 BC, or 815 years before the siege of Troy, drove the snake race to the delta. They drove the ancient Maya people who had settled in Hindustan down to the south, to the delta. They're called the Sanskrit people. Sanskrit, huh? They say Sanskrit is the oldest writing. And if they're coming from America, then obviously, where's the oldest writing? Sanskrit is related to ancient Hebrew, too. We got videos on all this. And their history is comprised under the solar and lunar lines. The Sanskrit people appear suddenly, right? They appear suddenly, listen, with their wonderful literature and their highly organized system of priesthood. A developed people. Their infancy passed beyond the north of India. So this is very important to understand, guys. The ancient Naga people are the oldest people in Hindustan, or so-called India. And they came out of somewhere else. Even in their own legends, they tell you that they came from here, they came from somewhere. They weren't original to that place. And not only that, but when they got there, they already had a highly organized system of priesthood. They were already a developed people. Okay, very important. Hence their sacred Meru, Ameru, Amaru, Meru, Ameru. Ameru is the Andean dragon, guys. It's the South American dragon, Amaru, right? Like Amaru, like Tupac Amaru, right? Amaru, Amaru Khan, priest kings, or the Olympus of the Indian, right? That's their like Mount Olympus, right? Was the celestial North Pole. Mount Meru was in the North Pole, not over there in Hindustan. They imagined that the lotus floating on the water is an emblem of the world, and that this flower was the cradle of their chief god, Brahma. Brahma, Abraham, Abrahma, 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 Abram, Abram, Abrahma. They are considered by many eminent authorities to have been the great instructors of the old world, okay? These are the great instructors of the old world. We're just talking about ancient Americans known as the Nagas, coming from so-called Atlantis, Lemuria and all that, attached to the Americas. Not all of it went down. We're still here. These are the great instructors of the old world, so-called old world. Now, the moment these Sanskrit people appear in India, right? Again, appear in India. They weren't there forever. They're not ancient from India. They came out of somewhere else, guys. That's very important. And they can't tell you, or they won't tell you. They can't tell you where they really came from, right? But then you start reading their Vedics and their poems and the Ramaya and all that. You Ramaya, right? Maya, Ramaya. They were talking about the Americas, this ancient land where their Nagas came from. So now the moment these Sanskrit people appear in India, they show knowledge of the pineapple. Okay? They had the pineapple. You guys understand that's natural to the Americas. The pineapple originated in America, guys. How did they know about the pineapple? These Nagas, by them called Ana Asa. That's what they called it. Ana Asa or Isa, food of the gods. Hey, what's that? Oh, that's the Ana Asa. That's the food of the gods. You know, the gods from America. They eat pineapple. The gods eat pineapple. Do you eat pineapple today? The food of the gods, huh? And they dedicated it to the Lingham and Iswara. But the pineapple is found near the sea. It is not a mountain plant. It depends for its existence upon moisture. And its native home appears to be about 7 degrees from the equator. Consequently, the Sanskrit people must have become acquainted with the pineapple from some other people living in the north who had employed it as a religious symbol. Such a people are the Mexicans, okay? Who? Not what you think of Mexicans today. I'm talking about ancient people of the territory called Mexico. Such a people are the Mexicans. That's who they learned it from. He's letting you know. Who had 4 pineapples placed in a cruciform arrangement upon the shield of their god Vitsili Usuli, left hand of the shining feather, and who themselves may have known the plant from the ancient races of the south, where it is a habitat, and who worship the Veracocha. Veracocha is Quetzalcoatl, is Bochica of Colombia, is Quetzalcoatl of Mexico, same person, Veracocha, foam of the sea, associated with a pineapple. Okay, real quick, go back to, just want to show you guys the other day on part 1, we went over the Assyrian tree of life and all that, and the aloe. I just want to show this, guys. Like, you guys got to see this, right? So that's literally corn, right? That's not no acorn. That's not no pine corn. We're not going to argue with people today. We're just going to time them out if they continue to come here and give their opinions, right? We're not going to do that. What I also wanted to show, right? Check this out. We're talking about pineapples, right? We're talking about pineapples. So tree of life, Assyrian tree of life, right? Assyrian tree of life, right? What do you see here, guys? What is this? Pineapple. Almost look like a pineapple, right? This looks like a tobacco leaf. Just wanted to show that. I thought that was interesting, you know. But again, we got the Birdman, right? The Birdman with his fringes on. The Birdman, or, you guys remember? Or Eagle Warriors. Birdman or the Eagle Warriors, right? We literally dressed up like that here in the Americas. So I'm thinking a lot of these people went like that already to that part of the world. And they was just like, whoa, look at the gods. They brought the pineapple. They eat the pineapple. They eat the corn. They brought tobacco, all this stuff, right? The palm. Remember, we went over the palm on part 1. The Birdman, huh? The Birdman. The bird, look at this. Haha! Ancient Naga right here. Do you remember who you are? Haha, look at that. That's cool. Casco de Guerrero. The Birdman, huh? The Birdman Aztec Eagle, huh? Or Mexica warrior logo, right? The Birdman, huh? The what you're calling an Anunnaki or Anahuacan. Anahuacan. Anunnaki? No, Anahuacan. Anuhuacan. You see that? Come on now. We can't make this up. Can't make this up if we wanted to. Even if we wanted to. That's your own hijacks, all right? You gotta empty your cup. What have you learned? What they told you? You gotta empty your cup if you want some higher learning, some more logical learning to stop instead of just thinking about aliens and lizard people and bird people, right? Like there's something more logical. History has a lot more logical things. Get out of the mysticism and isms. Get out of all those isms. There's a more logical explanation to everything, guys. And there is a true world and there is an origin to everything. Even if you want to come say, yo, but the lands were connected, everything, so what? There's still an origin and center. There's still an origin and center. Okay, let's go back. Don't want to get off too much off topic, right? Want to get too much off topic. Go back to the article. Hope you guys understanding what I got new today. The guys try to watch, well, it's pretty much, you're still early. We're going over the article, guys, we read 2 days ago. Okay, if you didn't watch part 1 2 days ago, make sure to watch that. That's what we got. We're just continuing the article, okay? But we were talking about that these Sanskrit people, the Nagas, learned a lot of stuff and got the pineapple and all that from people of ancient Mexico, right? And he started talking about Viracocha, who is the same as Quetzalcoatl, who is the same as Bochica. And he was associated with the pineapple. Remember, Quetzalcoatl is the plum serpent, or snake, dragon, Amaru, Naga. This god Viracocha is sometimes found represented in Peruvian water vessels, sitting in a half-water vessel, clasping a pineapple, incised, as if he were water deified, or rather, perhaps that man who, according to their traditions, was saved in a boat, the water vessel, or Khan. They say Khan, but it's Khan. Khan is snake, the Khan dynasty, being a dedication to the boat in which he was saved. Almost like Noah, like Moses, right? Coming out of the water, pull out the babies out the water. At any rate, we have here a natural expression of the pineapple associated with water. While in its dedication to heat by the Sanskrit Indians, we have an unnatural or corrupted expression as if derived from some other people. Okay? What they have in these ancient places is just a corrupted form of the stories passed down, the knowledge brought from ancient Americans to these people. A corrupted expression as if it derived from some other people. Khan. If the Sanskrit people taught the Americans to deify the pineapple, if he's saying if, that obviously doesn't make sense because the pineapple is native to the Americas, not Hindustan, right? So obviously, but he's saying if they were the ones who had taught this to the Americans to deify the pineapple, why did they not teach them to represent their gods with a multiplicity of hands and forearms, as the Sanskrit people themselves represent their own gods? That's a good question. What about everything else that they have in India? Whereas in American antiquities, we constantly find only one hand, the right or the left represented. But that is the symbol of their god, of the working hand, which is an idiomatic expression throughout all their works. The Sanskrit Indian's notion of representing his god with many hands may perhaps be a developed form of the Americans' god of the working hand. And the Indian or the Hindu, I'm gonna start saying Hindu one because I know who they're talking about, right? By giving his god any number of hands armed with different weapons, might thus express the powers of the working hand. The powers of the working hand. But this would be evidently an elaboration of the more simple American idea and a god with one hand, such as we find in Egypt and in America, right? Ancient Egypt was here. Make sure to catch part 1. Make sure to catch all my ancient Egypt videos in America, and check out UBTB. He got a whole series going. Like, keep proving it more and more and more and more and more. It's not just Egypt, though. You know, it's the true old world. Many nations, many old world peoples or nations are to be found in ancient America. Okay? Will not be a derivation from a god with many hands. The monkey is in the Indian scheme sacred even to deification. There is the sacred angel monkey bell used by the Brahmins at their religious ceremonies. There is a place called the place of God's monkeys in America. Remember, we have gone over this, guys. We definitely have gone over this. Okay, and I've shown the stone sculptures in the Maya temples of the monkey deities. So again, there is a place called the place of God's monkey in America. Monkeys are continually appearing or mixed up with the Indian exploits or the Hindu exploits, such as Hanuman and Koma. So, you know, they're monkey people, or Hanuman, the deity in ancient India, like almost looking like the monkeys they portray and out of Africa theories, right? The human monkeys they say we descend from. They say we descend from Hanuman. Others that were employed as an army. So you got an army of monkey men and these Hindu tales, right? But in America, there was a notion that in one of their destructions of the human race, or epics, remember, there's ages of man, not just in America, but in many of the old tales of the old world. Oh, we're in the first age was destroyed by this, the second age like this, we're in the fifth age or sixth age, you know, depending on the culture. Many different ages or resets. Resets. So the notion in one of the destructions of the human race or epics, all mankind were destroyed by a hurricane. Here we go. Huracan. Remember what we learned in part 1, hurricane, and we're turned into monkeys. Wow. Guys, this is not from the Hindu tales. This is from the American codices he's talking about, and the stories there in the walls. They were turned into monkeys, huh? So these monkey men, huh? What if we've been seeing it in reverse? They say, oh, humans evolved from monkeys. What if these monkey men evolved from humans? Something happened that we don't understand, huh? What if something really happened that we don't understand based on our concept of reality in modern times? That's a pretty deep notion right there. We shall find out one day. Yep. They turn into monkeys, hurricane. Remember, the huracan is the same symbol as the eye of Horus, which is literally the eye of the hurricane we learned the other day. Now, guys, this brings me to something. Let's go to a hurricane, right? Let's go real quick. So we should actually go to the image right here. So we got the spiral. If you guys know, let me just go right now to so we can have a reference, you know, while we're talking about it, right? So Eye of Horus. As you guys see, the eye at Horus has a spiral. Don't hurricanes move in a spiral? Don't hurricanes have an eye? It's literally the same symbol as we learned the other day as the deity Huracan. That's where we get the name hurricane from, Huracan, an ancient American word for the deity and for hurricane, Huracan. We still use it in Spanish. That's how we say hurricane. We say Huracan. Tan, right? Snake. Tan, hor, ura, hor, hura. Look at this. Horu, huracan, hurricane, hurricane. The eye of the hurricane, hurricane. Now, what's interesting about this? How did Shout out to Science, yo. Shout out to Science. I know Science got deep. He asked me a pretty good question, right? Let's see if this is gonna make you think, guys, right? You see? Now you see the spiral, right? You see the spiral at the end, right? The eye of the Huracan, Horus, eye of Horus. They just left out the Khan. So, how did ancient Americans, guys? I'm gonna ask you a serious question right now. How did ancient Americans know hurricanes had eyes? Do you know how high you have to go to see that? We were only able to see this in modern times when satellites and all that and people started flying and all that. But you got to go actually higher than an airplane goes to actually see the eye. You guys understand what I'm asking? How did the ancient Americans know about the eye of the hurricanes? How did they know it spin like that, like a spiral? They seen it from the air, of course, but how? You know, we can leave that up to conjecture. This what we have. We can theorize and say, oh, you know, they had hot air balloons. Oh, they flew. Oh, they flew themselves like Superman. Or they rode dragons, or whatever way we assume. Oh, they had vimanas. The vimanas of ancient India are literally flying machines. They must have some tech, yeah, or they must be riding on something, just like the Nazca lines. Great example. So Nazca lines, right? You guys don't know. The Nazca lines in Peru and South America, you could only see from the sky. Humans didn't remember or knew these existed. They had forgotten until humans started flying again. Until again, yeah, again. Again. Look at vast, look at these lines going through this territory. This is from way up in the sky. Look at that. The little man with the hand raised, they say it's an alien. They try to say ancient astronauts and History Channel. That's an alien. Everything's an alien. Everything has to do with aliens, right? You gotta dodge the hijack with your spinning balls. Look at the spiral right here. Look at that. Is that the Huracan? The Eye of Horus? The Eye of Horus? See? The spiral, huh? Shout out to Nine Spiral. There goes the spiral again with the monkey. So again, these are the Nazca lines found in the Americas, discovered in Peru. And again, we were only able to find out about this when humans started flying again. Again. There's like so many. They don't even show us all of them. And I bet you they haven't found all of them yet. Again, this is stuff you could only see from the sky. How did they know to do that? From the ground, and who were they showing it to? Who were they showing it to, guys? This is just food for thought, okay? I don't know. I don't think anybody can really say. We can guess, right? We can guess, but we don't really know. How did they do it? How they were obviously showing it to somebody. What was the whole point of making these lines? What was the whole point of making these lines? Look at this, guys. Come on now. What was the whole point if you could only see it from the sky? Now, in the ground, you can't really tell. You can't really tell, like, from the ground. Let me see if I can get a ground view of it so I can show you what I mean. You can't really tell from the ground. Well, right here, you can kind of see this, but there's some that you can't really see because they're so wide. You can't really tell. Well, that looks like she's making that. That's a little one, guys. See, that's a person making that. The ones we see from the sky are huge. They're wider. They're wider. And it's really hard to tell who did this stuff and why, and who was looking at them, who was looking down at them. All right. Again, food for thought. How did the ancient Americans know there was an eye in the hurricane? How did they know it had a spiral? Right? Think about that, guys. This is something I didn't question the other day, but that was a good question Science asked me, how did they know? You could only see it with satellites today. How did they know? The perfect spiral? Perfect spiral. The spiral. Horus. Horus Khan. Just add a Khan right at the eye of Horus Khan. Yeah. Deep, right? That's deep. To me, that's deep, right? Okay, let's go back to the article. So, were we talking about that in the Americas, the stories tell, or there was a notion that in one of the destructions of the human race or epics, all mankind were destroyed by a Horus Khan, and were turned into monkeys. Arrivals, air rivals. Oh, okay. Yeah, gotta break down words like that. That's interesting. Yep. The Indians have no such myth. All right. Again, just like ancient Egypt and ancient Babylon, they don't have an origin to a lot of the mythology. It's just all of a sudden it's just there. Like as it's saying here, the Hindus have no such myth. Therefore, they cannot have taught the myth to the Americans. All right, you understand that? They don't have an origin, so it's not, because a lot of people say, oh, Hindustan and Sanskrit is the oldest civilization in the world. They try to debate me and argue me, but just being biased. There's a lot of things that they can't even explain that we can. We have the origin for. From this myth, the adoration of the monkey in America ultimately became developed. And the place of gods, monkey was possibly that place which gave birth to it, okay? The place of gods, America. And possibly the place where the large ape Kaipor, Protopithecus, Antiquus once lived, and where it has since become extinct. The large ape Kaipor. Kaipor, huh? Hey, Andrea Clark, thank you for the donation. I appreciate you guys very much. Fresh face, how's it going? How's it going? Thank you for the donation. Hey, yeah, guys, show the love. Show the love if you enjoy this. Show the love so I can stay on. I have to get a job. Show the love. Show the love, Be honest, who got a notification for today? I hope you all did. I'm assuming everybody got a notification. You were supposed to get 2 notifications. 30 minutes before I went live, and then at the mark where I said I was gonna go live, you're supposed to get another one. It seems to work for other channels because I'm subscribed to other channels and I get the notification 30 minutes before and then right when they go live. But a lot of people in my channel don't get. You see, Andrea? Oh, no notification. You see, Shresam got no notification. This is what I'm saying, guys. So that's what I'm saying. Show some love. Help me out. Spread the video, like, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe, or you can't even chat. A lot of you guys just watch me and not subscribe. I don't know why. Subscribe, guys. Help me out. It makes the algorithms work better. Oh, look, Monty got no notification. Laverne did. Laverne, West got 1. Olmec 12 said he didn't get any. Nitzia got a notification. You see, guys? Where they picking and choosing. Oh, Nitzia got it twice. You see? That's how it's supposed to work. Shout out to Nitzia. What's up, sister? My Chip Chan, ancient related sister. She's from Panama. I'm from Costa Rica. We're literally neighbors, but she's in Georgia now. That's where she lives. Moved to the States a while back. If I remember correctly, you're in Georgia, yeah. So Stefan said, I didn't get no notification. Adara said, no notification. You see what I'm saying, guys? You see what I'm saying? I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Yet other channels, I get notifications like 2, 3, like a lot of channels I'm not even subscribed to. I get notifications. I'm like, what the? I didn't even know I was subscribed. They're subscribing me to channels I don't even follow. And they unsubscribe my people from my channel. Hurricane. Anthony didn't get a notification, you see? Andrea got one, the 30-minute one. Okay. So let's continue. So they're saying, hey, there was actually more giant apes here in America, he's saying, probably. Anthony didn't get one. Masada in Jamaica, he didn't get a notification either. You see what I'm saying, guys? I am shadow banned, guys. They don't want you to learn this stuff. I should have way more subscribers, guys. I should have way more views. I shouldn't have to be worried about having to get a job. You know what I mean? But it's all good. One day, we'll get our rewards. You know, Most High blesses us anyways. So with the sacred tiger, one thing about tiger, right? The word tiger, right? In colonial times, the Spanish used to call any big cat or any cat that is striped or spotted a tiger. I just want you to understand that. They used to call jaguars tigers. They wrote in their chronicles, when they were talking about the jaguar, they were calling them tigers. That was a generalized word for any spotted or striped cat for the Spanish. Okay? Harold got 2 notifications. What's up, Harold? Thank you for being here, man. He got both of them. See, that's how it's supposed to work. Imagine if everybody that I was subscribed to got a notification too. We'd have so many people here learning with us together. So with the sacred tiger, let's see what it's gonna say. The Indians have their sacred tigers. And at the famous tope at Sanchi, we find the principal member has his, when they're saying Indians here, they mean the Hindu, right? Okay, the Hindu have their sacred tigers. And at the famous tope at Sanchi, we find the principal member has his most important crowning piece in the center at the top to consist of 3 tigers with wings. Tigers with wings, huh? Sounds like a dragon to me. A lot of type of dragons look like they have a body of like an animal, right? Like a big cat or a lion or whatever. And a lot of them do actually look like they part feline, part snake. A lot of the so-called Chinese dragons. So this, you know, so they have 3 tigers with wings. There are also winged figures represented upon the member beneath plucking. Rings from a T placed in a tree. A T, or the, what is it called? The Tao, huh? Hebrew Tao. And distributing them to people kneeling. Yeah, Ken, I'm glad you're here. He said he didn't get one either. He didn't get a notification. Hence, these tigers must be considered as typical of something very important and special. What did they mean, though? Is it possible that they alluded to anything from where the pineapple came? Uh-oh. Where the pineapple came from? Ancient. The Americas. It's native to the Americas, guys. Remember, food crops. A lot of food crops originate in the Americas. We feed the world. Talking about the most resourceful place in the world, the oldest land out of the primordial waters. We went over that on part 1, guys. Make sure you watch part 1, please. This is part 2, 2 days ago. I bet you didn't get a notification for part 1. You didn't even know I did a part 1. A lot of you. So I just want to say, guys, since I'm shadow banned and now you know that you're not always going to get a notification, you must check my channel almost every day. I literally upload almost every day, or at least every other day. All right, active check-in, active manually. Don't wait for a notification. They're not going to send you one. So these tigers, right? These sacred tigers of Hindustan, could they have an origin also where the pineapple came from in America? Let us see. Now remember, I just told you that the Spanish called jaguars tigers, tigres. They called the ocelot in Florida tigres too. They called many of the spotted or striped cats tigres. Even other striped animals, they called them tigres. So let us see, in the sacred book of the Quiche Americans, the sacred book of the Quiche, you know what that is? That's the Popol Vuh. That's the Popol Vuh. Retta says she didn't get a notification at all. for part one. She didn't even know I had a part one. This is what I'm saying. Hey, Retta, we went over so much to drop on part one. It was such a good live. I'm sorry you missed it, but make sure to catch up on part one. I wish people would have been able to see part one before watching part two, but it's okay. It's just, stick around and make sure to watch part one when you can. That's a Spanish word for thug. And not in every country. It's only in Dominican Republic. I know what you're saying. No, you're right. You're right, Adara. The Dominicans, they say, ese tiguerazo, ese tiguerazo. You don't have to erase that. You were right. You were right, Adara. Yeah, it must mean something, right? It must go back ancient time. That tigre, that tiguerazo. No, you were right though. I grew up with a lot of Dominicans in Boston, guys. I know a lot of things about different cultures. Living in the States, you end up meeting so many people from different parts of the world, right? And growing up with them and sharing experiences with them and getting to know their culture. Yo, family, what's up? So let's see about this tiger. In the sacred book of the Quiché, right, the Popol Vuh, there is a description of 4 mythic heroes who set out on a journey to Toulon. Toulon. Tola is a son of Issachar. Tola is a son of Issachar of the 12 tribes, where they were to receive their gods. So Toulon, where they were to receive their gods. The names of these 4 types or mythic heroes are Balam Kitse, tiger of serene countenance, or the jaguar. See how they call him even in this book, they call him the jaguars, a tiger. This is what I'm saying, guys. Balam Kitse or tiger. Hey, much love, Eva. Much love. And thank you for becoming a member as well, Eva. Welcome to the club. Thank you. Thank you for the donation as well. Yeah, I'm from Beantown, man. Where you been, man? 20 years in Beantown. I went to Boston when I was 5 years old. I was just barely learning how to speak Spanish. And then I had to go into Boston and learn English because there was no bilingual back then in 87. 1987, March of 1987 is when I arrived in Boston in the middle of not the middle, but the late 80s. And it was a crazy time in Boston. And I went to Dorchester. If you guys know, right? I grew up in all black neighborhoods, literally. Well, Dorchester was very mixed where I lived, near Ashmont. There was a lot of Vietnamese people, Cape Verdeans, and a lot of Irish too. So, but I was right at the border where where one side was all black folks or melanated people or people from the islands, Hispanic people, Cape Verdeans, and then the Irish on the other side. Yep. So Balam Kitse. Let's go look at an image of Balam Kitse real quick, guys. Balam Kitse. I just want to show you. I'm not, just want to show you. Balam Kitse. All right. You see? Feline. Come on, this is like modern drawing. Show me the old ones. Show me the old. They're not showing me though. There we go. Balam Kitse. We're talking about a jaguar. That's just one of the actual drawings from one of the old codices. El jaguar de la dulce sonrisa. Right? Of the sweet, serene laugh. Literally what we just read. So look how in the article, right? We're talking about tigers. So remember, tigers, when you're reading about that in old records, sometimes they're talking about jaguars, guys. So you gotta know that. They might be talking about jaguars. You gotta understand that. Another thing to understand, Balam. Where have you seen that word Balam before? Balam. Hold on. Balaam, huh? Who was Balaam? Who was Balaam in the Bible? They got a Maya word. They got a Maya word in the Bible, right? Balaam. Balaam was a wicked prophet in the Bible, and it's noteworthy because although he was a wicked prophet, he was not a false prophet. That is, Balaam did hear from God, and God did give him some true prophecies to speak. However, Balaam's heart was not right with God, and eventually he showed his true colors by betraying Israel and leading them astray. But then he made them bless them. In Numbers 22:24, we find the story of Balaam and the king of Moab, Utah, a man called Balak. King Balak wanted to weaken the children of Israel, who on their way to Canaan, or the Holy Land, had moved in on his territory. Balak sent Balaam, who lived in Mesopotamia, the real one, along the Euphrates River, right? So you guys get the story. So he eventually had to bless him. He was going to do something bad, but then he had to bless him. Okay, so Balaam Kitse, right? Balaam, literally one word difference. Balaam, one word difference. Balaam. That's a Maya word. It's in the Bible. So again, the names of these 4 types of so-called tigers or jaguar heroes, mythic heroes of the Maya or Quiche Maya, the Popol Vuh, we got Balaam Kitse, tiger of serene countenance. Balaam Agab, tiger of the night. We're talking about jaguar of the night. Balaam Igri, or jaguar of the moon. Mahukuta, name distinguished. So that we find 3 mythic tigers in America, or jaguars. See, even in 1864, they're calling jaguars tigers. You see, this is a great example of what I was talking about. Oh, you didn't know we had tigers here, huh? We actually had a lot of big cats here. Big cats and carnivores and mammals originated in the Americas. We have gone over this, in case you didn't know, guys. I know a lot of you who not hip to the info and the research we've done in the last 8 years, you're like, man, he's just trying to make everything American. Man, what are you talking about, man? Hey, listen, man. We've gone over the info and proven it. We've gone over the info and proven it. Again, so that we find 3 mythic tigers in America, just like in Hindustan, as well as allusions to them on the tope of Sanchi, that's in Hindustan. And we have indications amongst the remains in America that they were acquainted with a certain form of Buddhism. They were acquainted with what? A certain form of Buddhism. Buddhism, right? Where does Buddhism come from, guys? Where does Buddhism come from, guys? Where does Buddhism come from? Supposedly, right? What's the story of Buddhism, right? It's literally in the word Buddhism, from Buddha, right? Buddha, right? Buddha, right? Do you guys know Buddha's first name? Hey guys, I want to prove to people how much informed we are. All my longtime followers, let them know what Buddha's first name is and where you find it in America today. Before I search it, I want you guys, Guatemala. There you go. Thank you, Eva. Guatemala. Yeah, there you go. Guatemala. Did you guys know that was Buddha's first name? Did you guys know Guatemala is Buddha's first name? Did you guys know that? It's the same as Guatemala. Guatemala, right? Guatemala at the LA. At the LA. The Buddha. What's his first name? Gautama. Gautama Buddha. Guatemala at the LA at the end. Guatemala. Now, who is Buddha's mom, guys? Who is Buddha's mom? Watch this. I want you guys to see how informed my followers are. What is Buddha's mom's name? What is Buddha's mom's name, guys? Go ahead. Let them know. Let the world know that you're informed. Let the world know, guys, who's going to give me the answer. What is Buddha's mom's name? Maya. There you go. Maya. Thank you, guys. Thank you. But I know a lot of you knew that without even correlating it to the Americas. I know a lot of you knew about Buddhism, but you didn't know, you didn't put 2 and 2 together when you saw Guatemala. You didn't think Guatemala, did you? And when you saw his mom was Maya, you didn't think the Mayas, right? Literally, it's in the word. Maya, born, right? Parents. Mahamaya, mother. Maya, Maya, mother of Buddha. Mother, mother of Buddha. Okay? Okay? Break the spells, guys. Empty your cup. This is the basics. We're going over the basics we've gone over in many different videos in the past. You thought Buddha was his only name, huh? Boom. Hey, boom. Now imagine all the info you've missed out on in the last 8 years. Please catch up, man. Please catch up, guys. Make the time. I know you can. I know it's all about priorities. And some people just don't prioritize this. I get it. It's not a priority to you. We've been over that years ago. That's right. Maya, like the Maya, right, in America. Why would the Maya, we just talking about the motherland. The motherland. Guatemala, Buddha, Guatemala. The Quiche, he's literally talking about the Quiche, right? Quiche Maya. Quiche Maya. Hold on. Quiche Maya. They gave me food. I know that. I know what they're talking about. The Quiche people. The Quiche. Now look at this. Quiche or Keisha, right? Keisha. Who's named Keisha? Who's named Keisha? Who do you know named Keisha? Asians, people in Pakistan, people in who's named Keisha? Who's named Keisha? Tell me right now, who's named Keisha? Buddha was a Sakai from the Sakai nation. We've gone over this. Keisha. Who's named Keisha? Keisha, Quiche, Keisha, Quiche, Keisha, Quiche, Maya word. They say, oh, black folks just made all these names up. These are slave names from Africa. These are slave names. That's what they tell us. There you go, your cousin, your niece, right? Your family. There's people named Keisha in your family, right? Did you know that's a Maya word coming from the Quiche? Did you guys know that? A friend of mine is Keisha. Yeah, you know a lot of Keishas, right? In the Americas. Homegirls that do the hair down the block. You know, so I know all of you know a Keisha somewhere or heard of a Keisha, okay? And who in general has these names? Black folks in America, right? Keisha, Quiche, okay? There's no coincidence here, guys. Hey, Aileen, welcome to the club. Thank you for that. Welcome, Aileen. And thank you for the donation. I appreciate it very much, Aileen. Thank you for all your support all these years. Keisha. Keisha. All right. We're just breaking down words and etymologies too. They have an origin too. People don't just make up things. The eponymous Quiche language is a Mesoamerican language in the Mayan language family. Okay. The meaning of the word Quiche in the Quiche language is many trees. Many trees. That's what Quiche means, guys, in Maya. The Nahuatl translation, Cuate. Look, Guatemalan. Guatemalan. Let's go back to Buddha. Guatemala. Guatemalan, place of the many trees, people, is the origin of the word Guatemala. That's what Buddha's first name means. Place of the many trees. Where they got all the trees? In the Americas. The tallest trees, the most, come on, that's where the shipbuilding began. Okay, so Guatemala, right? We're talking about the same thing. Buddha, Guatemala, Maya, his mom Maya, right? You see the correlation? Maya, mother of Buddha. The Maya or Quiche Maya are from Guatemala. Quiche department is also named after them. All right. Just wanted to break this down for all the new people, guys. We're going to go back to the article. Okay. We're learning a lot, right? We're learning a lot these last few days. Learn something new every day. And if you watch all my videos, you're going to learn something new from all my videos. Make sure to catch up, guys. So, what were we talking about? That we got tigers in the Americas too, and there's a form. Let me just read this part again. So that we find 3 mythic tigers in America, as well as allusions to them on the tope of Sanchi in Hindustan. And we have indications amongst the remains in America that they were acquainted with certain form of Buddhism. Of course they were, because he's from here. His people are from here. Of course there was a form of Buddhism before it was called Buddhism. But then all the American traditions point to the East and not to the West as the quarter from which knowledge came. The East, huh? Remember, this is the glorious East. We got that in part 1. This is the farthest East. If you're in Asia and you continue east to the farthest East, you end up in America. That's where Marco Polo went. That's where Marco Polo went, okay? What's that? Let me see. Okay. Now the East that the Balams came from, we know was in the neighborhood of Honduras. That's your East right there, Honduras. Still in Central America, right? Honduras. Because to this place their children ultimately return, that they might lay their bones where their fathers' bones were and where their fathers died. Thus there appears to be more substantive evidence to show that the Sanskrit people originally learned from the American, okay? The so-called Sanskrit people, the Nagas, they learned it or they came, their people came, their cultures from the Americas, guys, from the American, that the American people originally learned from them, all right? Not the other way around. Not that. They actually learned it from the American. Every woman named Keisha and destroyed. There you go, Quiche Maya. Let them know. Let them know next time you guys see your friend or your niece or somebody named Keisha. Let them know. Hey, did you know your name comes from the Quiche Maya? Place of many trees, many trees. Come on now. So the Sanskrit people, the Nagas, again, man, we already proved this. We know who the Nagas are. We got so many videos on this. Shout out to Augustus Leplejon and everybody else who already informed us on the Nagas, right? Or snake people, right? Snake kings, snake queens. The mythical founder of Cambodia is a snake queen, a Naga. She came from the Americas. You see those temples over there? More elaborate types of step pyramids, just like the Maya people built or the ancient Americans. We brought that knowledge over there. So, again, concerning the race which preceded the Sanskrit race in India or Hindustan, namely the Naga or Hak or snake race, right? Snake kings. We're the snake kings. They're finding the snake kings, right? Recently, this is all new stuff. They didn't know before the 2010s. They didn't know about no snake kings in the Maya. Now we do. Their remains evidently show that they were followers of the snake worship. Dodge the hijack. Were they really worshiping snakes? Or is that how they're interpreting it? And they would appear to have been as anxious to be considered of serpent origin. Serpentine. As the most ancient races of Europe were, just like all the ancient races. Guys, it's not reptilians. Dodge the hijack. They want you to think aliens so you can forget about your people's history. And I know a lot of you still have a hard time with it. You want to hold on to this reptilian thing. I'm not saying there might not be other entities that look reptilian, but I'm trying to tell you that in many cases, in most cases, when it comes to these ancient Naga races that founded a lot of these cultures, we're talking about ancient Americans, guys. Okay? And what adds to the probable unity of origin is that the languages of the autochthons, listen, of the autochthons of Europe and of the indigenous people of Hindustan belong in the classification to linguistic families having many traits in common. All right, we're talking about that Indo-European, so-called Aryan. You thought Aryan meant white, right? You thought Aryan meant white when Aryan just means noble. It means noble. That's what Aryan mean. It don't mean a white person or pale skin. That's not what that means. There was probably Aryans of different complexions, including so-called black. They might have had red hair. That doesn't mean they were pale skin. They might have not had red hair. So all these YouTube channels out there, that I'm not even going to name them because you know what I'm talking about, being biased, trying to make everybody so-called white in ancient times, all the advanced civilized people, they always want to make them so-called white. The Cephers and the Longos, and then fuck it, I'll name them. The Cephers and the Longos want to make everybody white in ancient times. That doesn't mean white though. Aryan means noble. Broken this down. So the Indo-European shows the relationship between Hindustan and Europe. Another thing is Bharat as the old name of Hindustan too. Bharat, Britan, Bharat, people of the covenant. People of the covenant in Hebrew. That's what Bharat means. People of the covenant. What covenant? The covenant we made with the Most High. Not break the commandments, keep the code. Can I see keep the code in the chat to everybody who has access? I'm gonna put the first one. Keep the code. People of the covenant. Keep the code. Now, if there be one thing more remarkable than another, it is the fact that the ancient races of the old world wish to be considered of serpent origin or serpentine. But the Mexicans had a snake goddess who they believed gave birth to a male and female from whom they were descended. They were descended, okay? We got a great video on this in that book we read, Researches into the Lost History of America, about the dragon, the snake, Medusa, how Medusa and all that it all comes from America, guys. The snake queen, snake goddess. Again, the Mexicans had a snake goddess who they believed gave birth to a male and female. Wow, male and female, huh? Let us create man in our image. Let us, our image, male and female. They were created. That's Genesis 1. Who is these creators? In plural. Are we just talking about the Nagas or dragons? Most High's messengers, Most High's helpers? Remember, the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. He was flying, hovered over the waters. And they created male and female. You know, Quetzalcoatl and a lot of dragons in China are associated with weather and forming land and gods of water and air and rain. They can control the elements. That's one of the things about dragons. They can control the elements. Hence, the Mexicans, right? When we're talking about Mexicans, don't think modern day. We're talking about the ancient people who lived in the territory today called Mexico, right? Mexica. Hence, the Mexicans must have considered themselves to be of a serpent origin, par excellence. And if the old races in Europe originally came from America, if the old races in Europe originally came from America, we can understand why they should be this serious of being so considered, right? What did we show the other day? I mean, we showed so many videos on this, right? Let me just get back. What happened to my what happened to my window? Hold up, guys. I'm missing a window. There we go. Okay. What did we go over the other day? Let me see if I can Why isn't it coming up? Live. Nope. Videos. This one. Okay. We literally, I mean, we've proven it so many different ways, but America's in pre-Roman times, right? Modern Europe. This is the video from the other day. All right. What does it say here? The American discovery of Europe. What did we learn about the oldest land? What did we learn about the oldest land in the world? What did we learn? We're going to go into geological sketches. The most famous geologist letting you know on chapter 1 of his book. Chapter 1 of his book, right away. He didn't waste no time. He didn't waste no time. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. America, the Old World. I hate when it does this. America, the Old World. Firstborn among the continents. Firstborn among the continents. America, so far as her physical history is concerned, has been falsely denominated the New World. This ain't no New World. What you mean New World? There was millions of people here. What you talking about? And you can't even tell me where they came from. You want to call it the New World. There you go, Kivara. Yeah, you're right. Khyber is the Cobra. Yes, man. Shout out to Red Lion Pacana. Shout out to my bro, Red Lion Pacana. We in here were conversating today earlier. Kivara, land of the Khyber, Khyber, Cobra, clans of family. Yes. Snake Kings, Khan Dynasty. Again, America has falsely been denominated the New World. Hers was the first dry land lifted out of the waters. You know how the Most High said, and let the land and let the waters separate and land came up. That's literally what they're talking about right here, guys. That's literally what they're talking about here. See, Olmec is a made-up word, guys. Olmec is not, that's not what they call themselves. Olmec, again, if you watch my Out of Olmec Theory videos, you'll see that there was Olmecas who were actually more recent, and that's where they gave the name to the ancient people of Mexico using their name, Olmecas. Olmec is not ancient. That's not what they call themselves. Again, hers was the first dry land lifted out of the waters. Hers, the first shore washed by the ocean that enveloped all the earth beside. And listen, we're talking about Europe. Who colonized Europe? Who discovered Europe? And while Europe was represented only by islands, Europe was still just islands, guys. The highest mountain peaks, rising here and there above the sea. America already stretched in an unbroken line of land from Nova Scotia to the far west. What is the far west? I bet you that in those times, that was connected to Asia, so-called Asia today. There wasn't no barren strait. There was more land connected. It continued. All right, Europe was just islands, so Europe had to come out of the waters first before people can actually settle all over the place. Okay? So let's go back to the article, right? Go back to the article. Hence, the Mexicans must have considered themselves to be a serpent origin, and if the old races in Europe originally came from America, we can understand why they should be this serious of being so considered. Of course, the Mexicans or Mexican people, the people of Anahuac, Anahuacan, you call them Anunnaki, Anahuacan. Of course, the Mexicans as a people were modern, but their religious expressions retain many of the most ancient myths belonging to that stock from which they were descended. The Mexicans in their picture writings sometimes represented the snake goddess as a cross Wow, look at that. The cross, how we had the cross here in America. It's not a Christian symbol. It has nothing to do with Christianity. They just adopted that symbol and turned it into their religious symbol to hijack the origin and truth behind the cross. The Tau, the top or northern branch of which was a head, a cross with a head, with a helmet and waving plume, feathers, in principle, being the same as the Egyptians' giver of life. Just like the Egyptians, right? Which was represented as a T surmounted with a ring. Thus, the Mexican goddess took the place of the ring. And as she gave birth to two children, one male and the other female, she was, or this form of cross so represented, symbolized. The Mexican's giver of life, a somewhat similar figure, a T, with a triangle apex downward instead of a ring, was used by the Indians, the Hindus, right? That's what they tell them. But the Egyptians and Indians or Hindu symbols are only more letter-like. They're more letter-like or hieroglyphic forms of the more primitive, it's just copies, listen, of the more primitive pictorial one. Picto, Paleo-Hebrew. The Babylonians had a similar form of cross, example, a T, but with a man's head on top. Listen, just like the ancient Mexican codices, but with a man instead of a queen, instead of a female, instead of a woman's, because they were worshippers of Belus. Worshippers of Belus. Where is the true temple of Belus? That's literally the way, when you read the description of the temple of Belus, and when you go measure and research and analyze the pyramid of Cholula, just like Humboldt did, Alexander Humboldt in the 1700s, and he wrote about it, and I've shown the source. He said it's an exact copy of the temple of Belus, or Babel, right? A copy, not the original, but a copy. But there is a physical representation here found in the Americas. They haven't found the temple of Belus on that side of the world, guys. They haven't found none of these places they talk about in the Bible and ancient records over there. They haven't found none of these places, guys. But this same temple of Belus is described the same way the pyramid of Cholula is. Mud bricks, everything, the whole thing. And you guys know how large the pyramid of Cholula is. And the actual stories associated with the local indigenous people about a flood and how they had to build it so they wouldn't go through a flood again, and they wanted to make it high. And come on now. So they were worshippers of Belus, supposedly, right? The sun, male, and not the sea, female. The sea, female. In this instance, there is the following remarkable peculiarity. On each side of the symbolical figure is a row of 3 or 4 beads, each row terminating abruptly, without any apparent reason either for its presence or for its absence. Now, in America, this cross symbol is found worn as an ornament hanging from the head of a god on a beaded necklace, okay? Deep right here. This is deep right here. Pay attention. It says Vac or Garuded from altar stone, Copan, America. He got a cross. He got a chain with a cross. Don't y'all wear chains with crosses today? Mimicking the past, right? Mimicking the ancient people. And is that the bird man? Or the eagle warrior? So-called Anunnaki? So-called Babylonian deity? So he had a beaded necklace, a chain with a cross, huh? Consequently, we have an indication in the case of the Babylonian figure that it has been so worn, though the Babylonians seem to have lost the meaning of the beads, representing only those that would appear in a front view, while the ornament was actually being worn. You see? So they draw the ones with Babylon just with the cross, see? Look, the beads. They don't know what that was. It was actually a chain. You see, this is what I'm saying, guys. Like, in those old world cultures, supposedly old world, right? They have mythology and all that, but they don't have an origin for their mythology. This is what he's letting you know. They lost the meaning of the beads. But we have the origin stories here. When the Mexicans sculptured the snake goddess, they represented her as emanating from a rattlesnake's mouth. Huh? Rattlesnake, cobra, kyber, rattlesnake, huh? Where's the rattlesnakes from, guys? Her head taking the place of its tongue. When thus represented, we may presume that something of knowledge or wisdom was signified, because the Mexican priest, before being ordained, entered a temple, the portal of which was sculptured like a snake's mouth, so that they would be supposed to have obtained their knowledge through instrumentality of the snake, like Eve getting her knowledge through the serpent. You guys hear that? Like Eve getting what? Knowledge from the serpent, huh? Now, one of the peculiarities of American sculptures consists in the human figure being covered by the animal, like that of the fish god of Babylon. Remember, we went over this on part 1 the other day, guys, 2 days ago. Part 1, we're reading it about Babylon and how America influenced so-called ancient Babylon, right? Fish god, right? And we have gone, I think we read it even in that book, The Discovery of Europe, the American Discovery of Europe, how people from Nova Scotia and even the Inuit people and a lot of people who were seafarers, they actually wore fish scale suits on themselves. So it's a reference physically, like literally, and also a reference to people who were seafarers, so-called fish gods, people from the sea, like that of the fish god of Babylon, as if they were contending for the mastery over the animal world. Whereas the expression of the Indians and all their avatars, right, the Hindus, make the human superior to the animal, as if they had arrived at a more advanced period, when man had subdued or got the upper hand of the animal. We have seen there is an indication that the people of Palenque, look, Palenque, and the ancient Pelasgian Greek may possibly have been of the same family. What is a so-called Greek? Oh, we've broken this down in so many ways, right? What is a so-called Roman? Hellenized, Romanized, Hellenized people, huh? There is a further suggestive confirmation. The ancient Pelasgian Greek considered himself to be of serpent origin. There you go. So what he's trying to tell you guys, what is he trying to hint at, which we've gone over in many videos before, like if you start seeing this reference of snake king, snake gods, snake deities, Nagas, there must be some relation there to ancient Americans. Now, Medusa's head was his badge, a woman's head decorated with snakes, or an elaborate form of the snake woman, Real quick, you know, I gotta do this. This is what I just wanted you guys to have context and references of things we've gone over in the past, okay? In the book Researches into the Lost History of America, we read a great chapter. Well, first of all, we got part 5, right? Which is the Great Dragon of the Old World, the home of the Titans. That was in the Americas, guys. The home of the so-called Titans, mythological Titans, right? Who's the Titans? Who's all these giant bones they're finding in the mounds, right? What is all these giant bones they're finding in the mounds? Titans, right? Giants. Talking about 8-footers, 9-footers, 10-footers. In general. We've gone over it, right? And then part 6 is literally about what they're talking about right now. Can't make this up. We've gone over this whole info. That's why reading an article from 1868, it's incredible that he was bringing all this up on his studies, you know, in a time where he don't have access to the internet. He doesn't have access to the internet. Mexico as Prometheus and Medusa. Researches into the lost history of America, okay? Prometheus, Medusa. We've talked about this. Tartary came much later, guys. That's a whole, they're trying to lead you into a whole other hijack, guys. This is what I'm saying. And these people who talk about Tartary, they don't even, they're all conjecturing. I mean, I can make videos on Tartary, but I'll be conjecturing. They don't know the origin of none of that stuff. They assume, they conjecture. We try not to conjecture so much on this channel. Whose kingdom was Tartary before it became known as Tartary? Who is the Grand Khan? Who is King David, King of Kings? This is a real thing, guys. This is real things. They can't tell you all this stuff. Yeah, there was an empire called Tartary, but so what? That came much later. There's more to understand, and we will eventually. You guys will see what I'm talking about when people start getting more insight, more knowledge, and stop being biased and just want views and talk about, oh, look what I found. Well, duh, we had that technology. Duh. Who was the grand architects? That's what Redline Pacana about building, right? Who's the grand architects? Who's the real original grand architects? Toltec. Come on now. Toltec. So look, I got a video on this already. Check it out, guys. Watch this whole series. This series right here, this playlist was really good. Really good playlist. Like, that book we read was good. We read the whole book completely. It's a book from the 1800s too. Okay? Going back to the article. Medusa's head was his badge. A woman's head decorated with snakes, or an elaborated form of the snake woman. Again, Minerva, the goddess of wisdom, was represented with a helmet and a waving plume. All right? With feathers. And one of the names of Minerva was, that's like a Greek something head, as if it were a positive allusion to the way in which the Mexican painted his snake goddess. Again, Athens, by the Athenians, was symbolically represented by the grasshopper cicada. The grasshopper had to be worn as a part of the costume necessary by the Eleusinian mysteries, all right? So again, just to remind you guys, Eleusinian, we went over in that playlist, Research into the Lost History of America too. And when we're talking about Athens or the original Athenians, right? Let's see if it comes up. Guys, I want to keep doing this because we're live, so, you know, we don't have to hurry. We don't have to hurry. We're going to break this down again. Okay? So, Cecrops. I think that's, yeah, Cecrops. Cecrops, right? He was the founder and the first king of Athens. Who's the Athenians? Who is Cecrops? Who is Cecrops really? It's not just mythology, guys. This is what I'm saying. When they teach you this so-called Greek mythology, they don't give you an origin to these people. Who are they? Where did they come from? He was a culture hero, huh? Teaching the Athenians marriage, reading and writing, and ceremonial burial. Who was Cecrops? Let's see if it comes up. Calco, Judah, Sarah. Let's see if it comes up. You see, I can't make this up. I mean, we got videos on this, guys. You see, I'm just, first thing, Calco, son of Sarah. Who is Sarah, guys? That's the son of Judah. Individual note, the Mycenaean house of Atreus also traces lineage to Zeus. Who is Zeus? Example, Judah. And considering the Mount Sarah rising above Mycenae, the Mycenaeans are also, these are all Hebrews, guys, Israelites. It would seem that this royal line, like that of Troy, sprang from Sarah. Remember, Troy was founded by Darda. Indeed, remember that the Sarhite Dardanus, or Dardanus, that's his name, Dardanus or Darda, the son of Sarah, a son of Judah, actually came from this area of Greece. So which was it? Was it Gatilius, the son of Neleus, or Cecrops? Now I want to read where it says here. Hold on. There we go. Consider that the two scriptural mentions of Calco and Darda, this is in the Bible, all right, sons of Sarah, of the line of Judah, apparently called the sons of Mahol in the latter. Calco is mentioned first both times, apparently as the elders or most prominent. This would seem to indicate that between the two, the primary royal line from Sarah should be through Calco. Yet that is rather surprising when we consider Darda as the founder of the royal house of Troy. Again, these are grandsons of Judah, guys. But what could be more prominent than that? Perhaps the answer would seem to be the founder of the royal house of early Athens, a lineage that also seems to have become the dynasty of Miletus, the Milesians, right? Also coming out of Judah, and other kingdoms, eventually including Ireland or ancient Chaldea. Ancient Chaldea. Regarding Malho, some see a relation to the name Miletus. The name Malho can be rendered in Hebrew as Malkol, which means dance or literally to move in a circle. All right. It is also possible that the word Mahol or Makol, as here applied, was actually imported from Greece, that it was the Hebrew transliteration of the Greek word megali, meaning great. Thus, Calco and Darda would be the sons of greatness. Furthermore, since there is compelling evidence that Ireland's Milesian rulers descended from Sarah, as this publication elsewhere shows, the first of the Milanesian rulers springing from Cecrops would seem to require the Athenian founder to have been a Sarhite too. Because of that, and Calco's preeminence above Troy's founder Darda. So, this is a random website, guys. Like we've read from Josephus, we've read from old annals of Ireland that literally Calco is the Cecrops of Greece. Okay? The modern descendants of Sarah and Judah. I can't make this up. One of these groups was led by Calco. So look at it, pre-Exodus migrations. Remember, we got the whole drop already, right? As we have already seen, the descendants of Sarah, Judah, or most of them, decided to leave their brethren and flee out of Egypt, out of bondage, out of so-called ancient Egypt, the real ancient Egypt. We're not talking about that everybody in America is an Egyptian. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that when you're reading the Bible and you're reading the word ancient Egypt or Egypt, we're talking about a location in the Americas, guys. To some new land or lands where they could establish independent kingdoms of their own. History and tradition record that they divided into two or more groups, which then fled across the Mediterranean, right? Scattered, right? Who got scattered? They scattered. One of these groups was led by Calco, also known as Cecrops. Calco is Cecrops, the Calco of the Bible, grandson of Judah, is Cecrops of Greece, guys, a great-grandson of Sarah. Calco and his group fled to Greece, so-called Greece, and founded the city of Athens. Another group led by Darda, or Dardanos in Greek, ended up in the Troad and became the ancestors of the Trojans, not long prior to the Exodus, okay? And it keeps going. We got the whole drop. I got videos on this, guys. I got like 4 or 5, 6 videos on this. Deep videos showing real primary, like ancient sources, not just websites like this, okay? But today we're just doing a review. So again, Cecrops is the founder of the Athenians. When we're talking about the first Athenians, we're talking about people of the covenant. Yeah, we're talking about Israelites and Hebrews, guys. Going back to the article, what were we talking about? Again, Athens, by the Athenians, was symbolically represented by the grasshopper. Cicada, a grasshopper, had to be worn as a part of the costume necessary by the Eleusinian mysteries. The Mexicans had their mysterious place called the Hill of the Grasshopper, which was represented by the Lenham and Yoni, with the grasshopper on the top. Finally, the Greeks associated the pineapple native to America, with the moon. Hence, if the Greeks learned the form of the pineapple from the Indians or the Hindus by associating it with the moon instead of with Lingham, they showed that they knew better how to employ it. Now, coupling these expressions of the so-called Greeks together, surely there's more substantive proof that the Pelasgians got their ideas from America. Well, where did these founders of Greece come from? They came out of Egypt, right? So-called Egypt, the real so-called Egypt, bondage. Where's Little Egypt today? Where's the area called Little Egypt? It's Illinois, right? So they got their ideas from the America, then there is that they obtained them from the Sanskrit people. That the Greeks and Indians may have arrived at the idea of Hades being in the West from natural causes is very possible. Like another thing about these deities, they're all Westerners. They're all from a mythical Western land. But such an idea shows that the Hindus could not have taught the Americans, all right? We didn't get that from them. They didn't teach us because the Americans make their holy land northwest and their Hades in quite another direction, namely down south in Central America. Their homeland in the northwest, Toulon. Toulon, huh? Tola, the son of Issachar, Toulon, Tola. As concerns the sacred elephant, the holy Ganesha, right, the Hindu deity of the elephant, right? I know what he's about to say. And guys already know what he's about to say. They have elephants on the sculptures here in the Maya temples. We had elephants here, guys. We had numerous different types of elephants, not just woolly mammoth, not just the hairy ones they want to show us. Literally elephants that look like the ones in India and Africa and all that. We had elephants here, guys. Mammals originated in the Americas, guys. Mammals in general. Where's the camels from? Where's the horses from? Where's the dogs from? Come on now. We've proven this with science. So we got the sacred elephant of the Hindu, right? The holy Ganesha. There are indications of knowledge of it at Copan in America, right? That's what I was talking about. In the pyramids in Copan, they have elephants literally portrayed in the stone. How would they know about elephants if elephants are supposedly not from the Americas? Mr. Stevens, in describing a piece of sculpture discovered there by himself, mentions that the trunks of elephants, listen, are represented on one of the figures, but on the back of a figure belonging to the same group, as given in his work, there is represented an epocha or cataclysms. Cataclysms, huh? In which is an elephant's head upside down, cataclysms. The tux is conventionally turned inward and has a spiral end. See title page. See title page. We're gonna go back. Let's see, elephant, Kurimeo. See what comes up. Look at this, the first video, right? Ancient buried cities in Mexico. Elephant bones found, floods and mud, forbidding archaeology. Literally showing a cataclysm. Literally looks like they went through a cataclysm. This is from 1 year ago. This is a great video too we went over. We're reading real history, real archaeology, what people wrote they found. They found a grave of elephants in Mexico, and it shows evidence of floods and mud. And okay, come on, guys. look, Kurimeo. Look at Kurimeo with Elephant Man. Oh, you didn't know I know Elephant Man? You didn't know I know a lot of these Jamaican artists and rappers from the States, right? I met a lot of them. That's Pure Life TV. Kurimeo, yeah, back in the day before I started this channel. Okay, now check out this one. This is mine too, from 3 years ago. Ancestors of elephants all over America. Origin of proboscideans. What is a proboscidean? Is the ancestor of all elephants. All over the Americas. They found the proboscideans all over the Americas, more than any other part of the world. More than any other part of the world. Oh, you guys didn't know I did interviews? I was, trust me. I've been there, man. I've been around, guys. I don't mention none of this stuff to you guys. But if you go to my very first videos on this channel, you'll see who I'm interviewing. Capleton, Elephant Man, Dappy Ranks, Cuddy Ranks. Come on now, a lot of the legends. chronics, a lot of them. So you see the hieroglyphics they found on the mounds. They have elephants. We have elephant pipes. We even have effigy mounds made of elephants in North America. Okay, I mean, we gone over this. You guys, a lot of you haven't watched none of these videos. A lot of you guys haven't watched any of these videos. And we got Elephant Man. Come on now. The Elephant Man. The Elephant Man. You think it's just AI. This ain't AI. This is before AI.
We're here with Elephant Man, Energy God. Great performance tonight. Feeling after this performance, what do you have to say about Costa Rica?
Well, Costa Rica is the best place. Energy God, love the fans. The fans number one.
Yeah, you let them know. Let them know. Elephant Man was so cool with me that night. Like we were chilling back, like we were chilling, man. Like he was mad cool. He was mad excited. I don't know. He saw me and he was like, yeah, this is a real one. He saw me, he just gave me so much love. Like he just kept it so real. He gave me the time. He's like, you done? You want any more questions? I'm like, I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Go chill, man. You just had a concert. Go chill, man. All right. You guys don't know, man. All right. You underestimate. A lot of you underestimate me. You think I'm just, a lot of people think I'm some Mexican. I'm not even Mexican that never been anywhere, that don't know anything. Yeah, he looks just like the people in Bonham Park. Exactly. Elephant Man has that same phenotype of the people in the walls in the Maya temples. Okay? It says Kuri in the indigenous folk interviews. Hey, Minx, why are you separating me like I'm not indigenous? You see? You guys got to catch yourself with that. This is what I'm saying. You just looking at my life. So he's the indigenous and not me? Is that what you're saying, Minx? Is that what you're saying? You got to catch yourself when you're doing that. That's your hijacks. That's your own hijacks. Break out of those. Empty your cup. Stop going off just looks. Because Jamaicans have a lot of Black European in them too. I'm sorry to remind everybody all this stuff. A lot of Irish, Scottish, and English. Yeah, he looks like the Maya. But he also may have, what is his last names? What is Elephant Man's real name, guys? Where did he get that last name from? Black Europeans, okay? I know you want to think I'm the mixed one. Not him, right? We both indigenous, man. What do you mean, Kuri and the indigenous folk? What do you mean by that, man? Come on now. All right. All right. I hope you think about that, what I'm telling you right now. All of you who think like that, like, oh, all right, this is what I'm saying. He not one of us. He one of us, but he's not one of us, but he's mixed. Oh, no, he's not black. Oh, all right. He's not indigenous because he ain't black. All right. You guys got to break out of that stuff. All right. Going back to the article. Sorry to get out of topic. It's just because we're live and I've been wanting to, talk to you guys. Have a lot of context. So the elephant, right? It's saying it literally represented an epoch or cataclysm, just like the video, just like what they found in Mexico. Elephant bones scattered, like broken, like something, like there was a cataclysm. Like there was a cataclysm. We literally found the archaeology, and this was found after this guy wrote this. That was found after this guy wrote this. You, me, and we. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We. Now, if the Hindu taught the Americans a knowledge of the form of his holy elephant, he taught him to represent it as he did not represent it himself. You see? The Hindus don't even represent it. They don't even have no origin for that. This is what he's telling you. But if the American learned his form from the primeval elephant, whose tusks did curve in a spiral form, and if the cataclysm is intended to record the destruction of this elephant, then the original home of the American is fixed to be in the north, as the elephant primigenus has not been discovered in the southern hemisphere and would appear to have been limited to the 40th and possibly the 70th degree of latitude. So after, again, 1860s, guys, then nobody's doing archaeology in the Americas. They're just starting to. So of course they hadn't found it. It's elephant bones all over the Americas, even in South America, Central America, all that. Okay. All right, and then we go on to the next part. That was India, Hindustan, right? I mean, we could have gone way more. We've shown way more correlation than what they talked about in this article when it comes to India and ancient America. But that's what they had to say, you know, things that we actually already knew, things that we have talked about and have videos about and have researched, okay? Now we move on to the next part of this article, and they're talking about China. China, huh? Modern day China, huh? China. There was an ancient China, China, huh? Just want you guys to remember, right? China. Let's see if it comes up in the etymology online here. China. China. Okay, see, this is a country named China. Sina, right? Asian country, which was named in the 1500s. It wasn't called China before that. Yo, Signs, much love, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you for that, bro. Much love, Signs. Hey, Signs, earlier I told him about the hurricane thing, about how did they know about the hurricane eye? Oh, I made him think. Just like you made me think. So, of uncertain origin. Listen, this is deep. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. This is like China, huh? Got his name in the 1500s only. But I thought China was so ancient. It was Tartaria, yeah. Yeah, but before Tartaria, there was something else too, guys. That's the hijack with the Tartaria thing. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is deeper than that. So, of uncertain origin. Where did they get that from then? Probably, ultimately from Sanskrit, Sina, the Chinese, perhaps from Qing dynasty, which ruled 3 BC, Latinized as Sina. Hence, sinologists. Sina, the Chinese word for the country in Changku. Sina, huh? Sina, huh? Sina. Sina, huh? You mean like Sina Loa? Sinaloa? Sinaloa? Which is in Mexico? A state of Mexico? Sina, China, Sina, China, Loa, Sina, Khyber, Kiver, Catay, Catay, Yucatan, Catain, the Grand Khan. This is Grand Tartaria. Let them know, Nitzia. This is what they don't see. This is what I'm saying. That was the land. That was the kingdom of Prester John. King David was king of kings. He ruled the world. He had kings under him. King of kings. Kandawit. Sinaloa. I'm getting deep. I haven't even done a video on this. This is what I'm saying. Shout out to Drop. If you watch Drop 42, the Drop Radio's Prester John series, 100, and I think he's on 150 or something now, you'll understand. That's how I understood what I'm saying right now. I understand that there's a history before Tartaria. A kingdom was taken by somebody and then called Tartaria. Tartar. But you also got Tartar, the Tartan, right, of the Scots, right? And they had bagpipes there, just like in China. Sina, Tartar, Tartan, the Tartan, right? So Sina, China, Sina, Sinaloa, and there's actually way more references I can show you in the Americas of Sina. That's just the first that came up to my head. Okay, Sipango. All right, you guys already know. I know a lot of you watch Drop, so you're way more ahead. A lot of people if you watch the Prester John series. It gets deep, guys. It gets really deep. Who is his nephew? Who took his kingdom? So-called Genghis Khan. So-called Genghis Khan. Tartars, huh? You think that's Mongols? You think that means Mongols? Mongols means great or great empire. That's your own hijacks. It wasn't in reference to Mongolia, the country, until the 1900s. Sina. China. Sina. China is Sina. Sina. Sinaloa, huh? Who is so-called Genghis Khan, or Georgy Danilovich, who is Judy the Great. Georgy Danilovich. That's his Russian name. You guys know that? Genghis Khan's Russian name, he was a so-called Russian. He was more of an indigenous Russian. Georgy Danilovich, or Judy the Great, a son of Daniel. Huh? What you talking about, man? Georgy Danilovich. You guys gotta get here. We're gonna get into that. Judy of Moscow, or Georgy Danilovich, right? Prince of Moscow, Grand Prince of Vladimir. He contested a title of Grand Prince of Vladimir with his uncle. He took a kingdom of Prester John. Oh, right here they call him Mikhail of Tver. Who is his dad? Look at this. Father, Daniel. Who's Daniel? Who's Daniel in the Bible? Did you guys know Daniel is a son of King David? Daniel of the Bible. Did you guys know that? King Prester John, Kandawi. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Look how it all relates. Gilab, also known as Daniel, was the second son of David, king of Israel. Daniel, from the Bible, he was an exilard, right? He was of the royal lines, but they don't tell you whose son he was in the Bible. They don't tell you that Daniel is actually the son of King David or Prester John. Daniel, huh? So that would make Judy, if we're talking about the same family, a grandson of the Prester who took over the kingdom. Or Angwan and his enemy, the other guy who was, it's in the Asian histories and Mongolian histories, the Tartar histories, it's the same story. What is the Golden Horde? The Golden Horde is the Vatican. Oh, this gets deep, guys. We haven't even done these videos yet. I'll get to these videos, okay? I'll get to these videos, okay? We're going ahead. I know it's a lot of info for y'all. For a lot of y'all who just got the basics. We're going to go back to the article. China, huh? Sina. Remember, Sina. They don't know the origin of the word. So if you can't tell me the origin of the word, how can you tell me I'm wrong? If you don't even know the origin of the word. We turn now to this ancient family of mankind, which stands out almost alone in the extreme east of the old world, where the most saintly, the most wise, and the most virtuous of human legislators promulgated some 2,330 years ago that sweet doctrine of heaven, of loving one's neighbor as oneself. If China, with its monosyllabic language, disengages itself more prominently from the rest of the world than any other country so as to make it difficult to unite it in a connecting chain with the African and the European families, and if the Chinese race, though apparently a distinct creation from those of the old world, can be proved to have exercised no influence on any of the races of America. Okay, hold on, I'm going to keep reading, then I'm going to address King Justice. And that the American races are distinct from those of the old world, then it might appear as if there has been separated centers of creation. But if there is a reason to believe that the Chinese are foreign to the place in which we find them, guys, remember, when they say Chinese, they ain't talking about what you picture modern day Chinese people. It's not the same as the ancient people of these lands. Okay? Gotta have context. He's talking about the original people who came and became known as so-called Chinese, which is a name of unknown origin, which we find them, and that they are a throw-off from some of the race, that they were immigrants from South America to the old world, and that the north is the source whence the original races of the old world came. Then must we bow to the doctrine of the unity of human race, that they were what? They are thrown from another race, that they were immigrants from South America. The ancient Chinese, Kivera, remember Kivera, Kyber? And that the north is the source whence the original races of the old world came. Then must we bow to the doctrine of the unity of the human race? All right. Now, guys, I want to address something that somebody's saying in the chat. King Justice says, David is from BC, not AD. And then you say Fomenko, but you don't understand Fomenko then, man. You didn't understand Fomenko's writings then. A lot of that BC stuff is actually from the Middle Ages. I don't care if you agree. This ain't about agreeing, man. And I'm very disappointed that you're still on that hijack. You still believe they threw our people way back in BC times, so you can think, oh, that's not connected, that's BC. And you understand that the chronology that you're using when you're saying BC is based off the Cyril year being the birth of Jesus, right? Gregorian, you going up Gregorian stuff, man? Disappointed in you, King Justice. So if you agree with the timeline change, what are you arguing for then, man? When I'm telling you King David lived in the Middle Ages, most likely. Then what are you arguing, man? Full of ego. Who's full of ego, Major Gain? Go ahead, get blocked. Go ahead, get blocked, man. Don't block him yet, because I don't know if he means the dude or me. But be clear, man. Don't come here with subliminal stuff. Who's full of ego? We're talking about research. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. You obviously haven't watched the Prester John series, or you've skipped a lot of videos. You want to pretend you follow certain people. You're not paying attention, man, to the research. These BC times, all that's hijacked, man. We got phantoms and duplicates in history for a reason. A lot of history actually happened much more recent than what they're telling us, guys. A lot of the Bible stuff happened in the Middle Ages. Fomenko's one guy, exactly. We're not going off of Fomenko, man. Calm down. You calm down, man. You don't get to speak today anymore, man. You can unsubscribe if you don't like it. Get out of here, man. You're talking. See, this is the thing. I don't agree, but you don't have nothing to debunk anything I'm saying, man. You're just talking out your ASS. You say Fomenko like you know this research, but Fomenko debunks you. That's the whole point, man. You still believe in their chronology. I agree with the time change. No, you don't, man. You're over here talking out your ASS. Now you can't speak today again. You didn't get blocked. You just got timed out for the day, man. I don't want to hear you trying to. This is what I'm saying, guys. Like, I don't mind you guys come and give your opinions and stuff, because everybody does. You see, no, I'm not timing out everybody. But when you try to argue and debunk something, like you're so sure, like you have the facts. Oh, King David lived in BC, not AD. How the hell do you know that, man? We got receipts, bro. What do you have? Just a big mouth. That's what you got. Calm down. You calm down, man. Don't come in my life with that hijack. You calm down, man. With your symbols. Don't let me get started on your thumbnail, man. With your hijack symbols, man. All right? The Star of Rephaim and stuff. Raphan. The Star of Raphan. Not the Star of David. Get out of here with that, man. That's what I'm saying. If he agreed with the time change, he wouldn't say David is from BC. That's what I'm saying, man. You're like, stop embarrassing yourself, bro. All right? Thanks for your opinions, though. Thanks for your opinions. China. They came from South America, the ancient Chinese, huh? What's South America? A lot of the time when they say South America, they include Central America. I just showed you Sina. Sina is all over Central America and South America. China, the original. Yeah, be humble, sit down, time out, come back tomorrow. He probably won't, but he probably is gonna talk. Watch, he's gonna leave me a comment. Oh, he's gonna go to the other channels. Oh, he don't go. Okay, you can't say nothing on his channel because he blocks you. That's what they do all the time. That's what they do all the time. They don't know how to be humble, but they want to be so sure and trying to debunk me with their opinions. I could understand if he actually brought something to the table and made me think, but you just made a statement. And then you use Fomenko, which we know Fomenko debunks you. So you make no sense, man. Either way, let's continue. The Chinese, like the Egyptians, Babylonians, and the Hindu, appear at once before us a developed people. Here we go again. All of a sudden, just like the ancient so-called Egyptians, just like the Babylonians, so-called Babylonians, just like the Hindus, the Nagas, they already had a civilized culture. How did they develop that civilized culture? How did they become developed people? There's no history of it. There's no origin, just mythology. Just mythology. You understand, guys, this is what historians and everybody don't really emphasize. And it's the one thing you should explain, but they can't. So they don't mention that. They just want you to think mythology, legacy, mythology. Well, mythology has a lot of truth in history. It has an origin. And what we're showing in my channel and some other channels is that the origin could be explained in the ancient Americas. And the stories basically are the influence of the primitive stories of all cultures coming out of the Americas. So again, just like the Egyptians, Babylonians, and the Hindu, the Chinese all of a sudden just come out of nowhere and they're already developed. What's their origin? But unlike the other ancient inhabitants of the old world, whether Celtics, Etruscans, Indians, or Egyptians, the Chinese had no system of organized priesthood, having indeed no word in their language to express priest. They had no myths of fabulous gods, no statues nor paintings representing men, half animal, half human, with the exception of their triad. Okay, so with exception of their triad, heaven, earth, man, Fohi, who first instructed them, and who himself was supposed to have obtained his knowledge from a tortoise, from a tortoise 1,000 years old. Come on now, having such things graven on his back. Come on, man. Where's Turtle Island, guys? Where's Turtle Island? He learned it from the tortoise who's 1,000 years old. He learned it by looking at the tortoise back. Right? You can learn a lot from the shell of a turtle, guys. Some deep knowledge learning to read a turtle shell. So he supposedly learned it from a tortoise, right? Turtle Island, huh? And Confucius says, Kung Fu, they try to make him an African. Yeah, the Pan-Africans try to make him an African, who collated their sacred or classical books. The Chinese have no beings approaching to deification. Fohi, according to Duhale or Duhel, reigned 200 years after the deluge. And the Chinese system as devised by Fohi, their first monarch, was this. One principle generated two examples. These two examples generated 4 images, which 4 images generated 8 lots. This is represented by the Koua and Teching. The Koua are 8 symbols expressed by 3 horizontal lines, one above another, having one of the lines differently broken, and which by so doing and being differently combined are made to represent 64 characters. The Teaching are 8 figures, expressing the 4 elements. The origin of letters is shown by Fohi penciling these trigrams or kua disposed in an octagonal diagram answering to the points of the compass. Chinese characters are sometimes represented on a triple carpel fruit called the fruit of immortality. The Chinese invented the compass and they make the south the spot from which the magnetic influence proceeds, heaven. Now, as the Chinese considered he was of celestial descent, and as he considers heaven to be situated in the south, listen, we have an indirect suggestion that he considered he came from thence, that he was not developed where we find him. Again, all these founders of all these ancient cultures, they're never from that place. They're always coming from somewhere else. And nobody can ever tell us where they were coming from. Yet they left a huge ass continent out of history. Nobody ever talked, well, what about America? Same way you can read an arrowhead to see how old. Exactly. We may gather from the fact that from time out of mind, he was always called his kingdom by 2 names, the Middle Kingdom, the Middle Garden, and the Middle Garden. For this suggests that the Chinese were originally surrounded by other kingdoms, surrounded by other peoples, other kingdoms, other nations. Their idea concerning the teaching showed that they originated in a piscatorial age rather than an agricultural or in a hunter's age, so-called hunter-gatherers, right? That doesn't mean they were cavemen. The Chinese tradition being that in the beginning there lived monsters who desolated the face of the waters. Wow. So that ships could not sail, but that the teaching or 8 persons escaped. The dragons in the ocean, huh? Leviathan. Bailey maintains from Oriental records that astronomy was cultivated in Egypt and Chaldea, 2800 BC, right? Chaldea, Ireland, and Egypt, ancient America. Okay. In Persia, you know, even Persia, where's the true ancient Persia and Persians? Or Elamites. Elamites, that's what they're called. Elam was the son of Shem. Shem is son of Noah, right? Where did Noah come out of? Where did the gopher wood originate? Where it only exists? Noah's ship was built with gopher wood. Gopher is found all over Florida, Georgia, and in some parts of South America. Native. No other place in the world has gopher wood. Okay, in India, 31 BC, and in China, you see how they just leave out the Americas, right? They never wanted you to think. So what if all these places, though, ancient Egypt, Chaldea, related to Ireland, related to ancient America, Persia, India, what China? So that the Chinese would appear not only to be amongst the first in their knowledge of astronomy, but actually to be the first acquainted with ships and navigation. So who's the first navigators? Again, where are they getting all that wood to build these big ships? Where's the tallest and biggest trees in the world? This tradition implies that they were probably the first to invent ships. Okay? So we're talking about Chinese, ancient Chinese coming from South America, right? Or the Americas, right? Don't get lost. In their notion concerning two of the teaching, we have again something very suggestive. One of them is said to have invented an iron basket in which were caught the monsters. An iron basket, sounds like a cage. We have an indication here that they were the first to discover iron. Remember, I have a video about how they found iron here and iron melting spots, iron producing spots here in the Americas, in ancient America. I have a whole video on that, guys. They want you to think we didn't make iron here. Another of the Techin was said to have invented a bamboo basket. and which was every kind of sweet-smelling flower. And in the bamboo, we have another mark of a southern origin. Now, the Chinese people are essentially a garden people, and all their decorations are floral. And these expressions are such as carry out the idea that they were developed in a place which might be called a garden, Garden of Eden, and by them, a middle garden. Does any such place exist in the world? Listen to what Mr. Pickering says of the western slope of the Peruvian Andes. Listen to what he said, guys. Pay attention. Whilst traveling in the midst of what I could only compare to an artificial flower garden outspread over a hill and dale, the thought arose, in a region like this producing also esculent and tuberous roots, how little here seems wanting to disclose to man in searching for his daily food, the secret of multiplying his means by subsistence. The remote and widely isolated geographical position of Peru favors the supposition of a spontaneous development of civilization. Okay? This is what Mr. Pickering was saying. Here then, I take it was the original birthplace. Listen to what he's saying of the present Chinese and the country they call the Middle Garden. What is the relationship with ancient Chinese and Peru, South America? We even got this drop on researches to the lost histories of the Americas, guys. Right? You guys remember that? You guys remember that? Like part 15, research into lost history of America, American influence on the ancient world. And this one, I think, is what we're talking about, the China and all that. And yep, this is the one. The last one, I think. Coming out of literally Peru. Same thing they were saying in a whole other research, a whole other book. This is what that middle garden was. The Peruvians considered Cusco, huh? Jerusalem, one of the Jerusalems, maybe the Jerusalem. We know for sure the city of David. The city of David is Sacsayhuaman. Sacsayhuaman, huh? Let me just see if I can find something real quick. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Just want to be able to. Okay, check this out. I'm gonna show you guys this one and then hold on. We got videos on this, guys. So we're gonna read Josephus' description of Jerusalem from the Wars of the Jews by Flavius Josephus, Book 5, Chapter 4. The description of Jerusalem. The city of Jerusalem was fortified with 3 walls. All right, pay attention. 3 walls on such parts as were not encompassed with unpassable valleys. That's very important because it only had 3 walls on one side because the other side was a cliff. It was literally a cliff. They didn't need a wall. People couldn't really get up to that part. So it's only on one side. For such in places, it had but 1 wall. The city was built upon 2 hills, which are opposite to one another and have a valley. Listen, a valley to divide them asunder, at which valley the corresponding rows of houses on both hills ends. Of these hills, that which contain the upper city is much higher. So you got the upper city and lower city, and in length more direct. Accordingly, it was called the citadel. The citadel by King David. This is the citadel of David, guys. Now, this image I'm showing you guys here is literally The ancient site of Sacsayhuaman, Sacsayhuaman, 3 walls, as you guys see. So Sacsayhuaman, not only that, is a citadel. As you guys see down here, right? Is literally a citadel on the northern outskirts of the city of Cusco. So not only that, but Sacsayhuaman is on the higher part of Cusco, and Cusco is in the lower part, just like Jerusalem is described. You can literally see the valley, as it says here, the valley from Sacsayhuaman down. You can see Cusco on the valley. Cusco. Okay? Hold on. Navel. I'm not done. The 7 wonders of Cusco, the belly button of the world. What do you mean? The belly button or navel. Cusco, the navel of the world. The main temple in Cusco has golden walls and golden threads woven into the thresh roof. Okay? The navel of the earth. Where is the navel of earth? I asked Google. It says the capital of the Inca Empire was situated at Cusco, high in the Andes. We're talking about real mountains, guys. We're talking about Mount Sinai. We're talking about real mountains here. Tradition states that the city was founded according to the geomantic principles. Now listen to what it says too on Google. Jerusalem, as the capital of the Holy Land, Jerusalem is called the earth or navel. Just like Jerusalem, guys. Cusco literally means navel. Every people had their motherland. Yeah, sure. Yeah, every people. Hey, oh, you want to include? Yeah, every people had a motherland, but we're not talking about that. You're off topic. We're talking about the motherland or grandma land. Dog papa. You all salty because I know you said something earlier. Now I know you're a salty Pan-African. You can't let go. You can't let go of the Pan-African indoctrination that's stuck in you. Your biased history. We ain't talking about that. Everybody had a motherland. Duh. Of course, like my motherland is Costa Rica, right? So what? If I leave Costa Rica and I move to Boston, I say, yo, my motherland was Costa Rica. So what? That's not what we're talking about, man. We're talking about the motherland, man. The original motherland, man, of all. Maya, mother, right? Mother of Buddha, Maya, motherland. Mayak means literally motherland. Everybody had a motherland. Everybody had a motherland. In Africa too, man. The fortress of Zion. Jerusalem, it says, in Christian medieval tradition, the navel of the world. The earth's navel. The earth's navel. Earth navels. The term earth navel was applied to several sacred locations from the ancient world. Generally, these sites were accredited with the title following the development into a sacred or special place, such as Delphi or Jerusalem. But in certain cases, the original name, listen, of the site contained a translation of the word navel, literally. It appears then that certain sites were given this status during construction. The ancient Peruvian capital, Cusco, for example, literally means navel. It's not just symbolic. It literally means the navel. We're going to read from Jubilees 8:19. It says, and he knew that the Garden of Eden is the Holy of Holies and the dwelling of the Lord, and Mount Sinai, the center of the desert, and Mount Zion, the center of the navel of the earth. These three were created as holy places. The navel of the earth, like Cusco literally means the navel of the earth. Go check out my Cusco, Peru videos, guys. They're very deep. They are. I'm showing you the real city of David. But people want to get stuck in their beliefs when they haven't found any of these places. They haven't found any of these holes. That's not the David's wall over there. They admit to that. That's a Roman wall. They haven't found any of these biblical places in what they call in Israel today. They haven't. But Dog Papa wanna, oh, it's Africa. I know that's what you mean, man. Everybody has a motherland. Man, you off topic, bro. You ain't paying attention. You wanna over here go off in your own little random thoughts and go off topic and start babbling on defense mode, Pan-African defense mode. Damage control. Damage control. That's what you guys will be on. I'm not done with Cusco. Hold on. I got another one. So we got, damn, what was that thing called? In the middle. Roundabout. Ow. Power. Hold on. Let me see if I can find. I can't remember a reference. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I'll find it. Michu. Michu. Hold on. I'll do it this way. No. Yeah. Saksai Waman. Real quick. The mummies in Peru and Chile are one of the oldest in the world. And now they have even one older now, which they're finding in Arizona, I believe. Spirit Cave, which is older. So remember, Sacsayhuaman is a citadel, right? So let me get to the, I forget you guys know, come on, help me. I'm talking about that, there used to be a tower, the Muchu. Come on, guys, help me out. You guys know what I'm talking about. I just want to show something. Let's see if I can find it. See the Cusco. Okay, right here. One. The Muyu, okay. Mijo. The Mijo. Come on, guys. The Mijo. There we go. Mijo. The Mijo is the Muyu. Mijo is the Muyu. The Mijo was a structure in Jerusalem, first mentioned in the book of 2 Samuel 5:9 and corresponding passages in the book of Chronicles and the book of Kings. However, it is mentioned as being part of the city of David. Again, that's Sacsayhuaman, guys. It's in Sacsayhuaman, the Mijo, and seems to have been a rampart built by the Jebusites prior to Jerusalem being conquered by the Israelites. The text also described Mijo built by Solomon and repaired by Hezekiah. Without giving an explanation of what exactly the Mijo was, they don't know. In the Bible, they just tell you the Mijo was there. That's where the ark was stored. There is some debate among scholars as to the Mijo's specific nature. The most common assumption among archaeologists is that it was a tower. Oh, I cut off right there. It's actually that it was a tower. The Mijo was a tower. That's what they're trying to say. But possibly in the Bible, the Mijo was a tower. So it says here, Mijo, generally interpreted to mean fill in, example, a solid tower or an earth embankment. We get Beth Mijo, translated in English versions, the house of Mijo, okay? Now, Muyumarca, right? Muyumarca says, Garcilaso wrote that on top of the 3 walls, so inside Sacsayhuaman, just like inside the city of David is the Mijo, well, inside Sacsayhuaman, which is the city of David, there was 3 strong towers, was disposed in a triangle. The main tower was in the middle and had a circular shape. It was named the Moyu, Marca, Muyu, Mijo, Muyu, Miyo, Moyo, Miyu, Muyu. The second was one named Pauscar Marca. Okay, so Miyu. Not just that, King David is going to tell you what the shape of it. Remember, this is a tower. Towers are round, right? Towers are round, right? Yo, I can't believe this dude came back. You see one passage, this is how corny they are. This proves how childish these people are. Yo, you are mad childish. Instead of humbling yourself, biting your tongue, and just chilling, you want to come with another account to talk more shit, right? Anyway, you time me out, then clown me when I couldn't replay, just like Killer did to you. See, now you're talking about Killer Priest who got exposed that day. You think what Killer Priest did to me was something good? I'm not a Pan-African, plus I was respectful. Man, you damn Pan-African, and you go write Killer Priest nuts on his channel. Go be a dick writer on his channel, man. You're corny, dude. You are corny. Now I'm really blocking you. I'm not just timing you out, man. Now I'm really blocking your ass, man. Thank you for that. Fucking no. Now you're not just time. I'm blocking both accounts. You're a cornball, man. Go cry like a little itch somewhere else. Well, you guys ain't handling it. I saw it before you guys did. You guys gotta see it was him. He's a pickle popper. That's what he is. You're a pickle popper, man. Go cry somewhere else, pickle popper. Okay? What King? That's why King did what? King disrespected me and he embarrassed himself. Go look at the comments on that video. Look at even his own people, unsubscribe, even his own people telling him, why you didn't let homeboy talk? Why you guys gain up on him? Why you guys didn't? Why you guys do that? You see what he came up with? You see? Like that's supposed to is that supposed to hurt me? Like you're so mad you want to hurt me because you're so hurt. You're so hurt like a little itch. You're so hurt like a little itch, you want to come try to hurt me. I didn't even block you. I had timed you out. So you would have been able to talk again and another. Now you're blocked. Don't create a third account. Don't come back here with a third account. You're corny. You're just gonna embarrass yourself. You gotta understand the people that follow me are real people. And you're acting like a little itch, like a little child, embarrassing yourself right now, man. I know what you meant. You straight Pan-African. Don't try to say you ain't Pan-African. FBA, foundational, whatever you want to call yourself. You're still holding on to those out of Africa theories and motherland. No, that's not the motherland, man. Cornball. So let's get back to the lesson. Millo, I'm making a point here because we're talking about Cusco. Sorry about the interruption, guys. So often it is mentioned as Muyu Marca or Muyuk Marca in Quechua language, but sometimes it is written as Muyu Marca and even Moyok. This is one of three concentric circular walls, circular. This is used to be a tower. Just like Milo is suspected to be what? A solid tower. Millo, Muyu. Just like the one in Sacsayhuaman. Now, in the book of Samuel, Millo is mentioned as the boundary of King David's construction while building up the city of David. That's Sacsayhuaman, guys. And after the capture of Jerusalem from the Jebusites, the King James Version translated into footnotes Millo as literally the landfill, while the New International Version translates supporting terraces. Hezekiah's repair of the Millo is mentioned within a list of repairs to military fortifications. It's a citadel, just like Sacsayhuaman was a citadel, a military fortification. And several scholars generally believe that it was something connected to military activity, such as a tower or citadel. You guys see that? Or simply a significant part of a wall. Okay? So when you read about the Millo in the Bible, he literally tells you it's roundabout. King David is like roundabout. It's round. This is the original Millo. This is what we're looking at this image here. This used to be a tower that went all the way up. They took the stones down. Yeah, he's a straight up Pan-African. Oh, that's the worst ones too, when they don't want to admit they're Pan-Africans. That's the worst ones. That's the worst ones. So you guys understood what I just showed you in these three examples? The navel, right? Just like Cusco and Jerusalem are called. Literally, Cusco is the navel. It's literally called the navel. Jerusalem is known as the navel, the earth navel. And then remember, it has three walls, just like Sacsayhuaman has three walls. Sacsayhuaman. Three walls, just like Josephus describes the city of David. We can't make this up, guys. 1, 2, 3. And on the other side is a cliff, just like Josephus described the three walls of the city of David on one side only. And on the other side is a cliff, unpassable valley, just like it's described here. If we can get an overhead, let me see. Get an overhead view so I can show you what I'm talking about. You guys see the three walls? 1, 2, 3. These were a lot taller before. This is a fortification. It's a citadel. They don't even know how they build this. These are huge stones. This is real megalithic. This is real rock, not geopolymer. This ain't cement. But Paul don't want to go investigate this one. By the way, I got a copyright from the video that I had Paul Cook on. And it's literally him showing his own video. That's what they're giving me the copyright for. And it's literally his third party, whoever he works for, they're working for, gave me a copyright. And I contacted him and he hasn't responded. And it's funny that it happened after the Longo thing. Yeah. Anyways. I thought we were cool, man. And it's all good. It's all good, whatever. I thought we were good. Let me see. Sacsayhuaman overhead. Or sky view. Sky view. Come on, give me the sky view. Here we go. So, right here. That's the Millo right here, the tower. That's the Millo, King David's Millo or tower. The Muyu. And then the three walls, 1, 2, 3, because on the other side is a cliff. On the other side is a cliff. Okay? I'm trying to show you guys something, open your eyes. You want to talk about motherlands in Africa and stuff, man. All right? Again, pay attention to the writing of Josephus. The city of Jerusalem was fortified with 3 walls on such parts as were not encompassed with unpassable valleys. For in such place they had but 1 wall. So on one side of Sacsayhuaman, you don't need the wall. Look, it's only on one side, guys. Because you could only get there from this side. Over here's a cliff. Just like it's being described, and you got the Millo right here. And this is literally a citadel, guys. Just like the city of David is a citadel. And it's overlooking the valley of Cusco. It's overlooking the valley, the 2 cities, one on top, one on the bottom, Cusco. Okay? I think I made my point. Going back to the article. You gotta hurry. Now it's getting late. It's getting like a long video. How did they build those walls? Good question. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna conjecture. I'm not gonna say, oh, they did it like this, like other channels try to say. Anyways. The Peruvians considered Cusco, a city situated about 13 degrees south of the equator in the Andes, to be the navel of the earth. Boom. There you go. The navel of the earth, just like Jerusalem, right? I didn't even know he was going to say that. This guy was on his A game back in 1868. Man, this guy, man, and we don't know nothing about this guy. We don't know nothing about this guy. Wow. To be the navel of the city, but you want to know about other people that want to make over there Africa the oldest, right? That's what you know about. But you don't know about this guy who was proven debunking all these people wrong. Hey, Maida Israel, man, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate you so much. She says, I'm taking it to another level because Kurimeo how is. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you. Bless you. May the Most High bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You don't even know how much we need that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So the ancient Peruvians considered Cusco the navel of the earth, the middle, the belly button, guys, remember. They called that which was to the east of the city, Antisuyo, region of Antis, that which is to the west, Contisuyo, region of Conti, that to the north, Chinchasuyo, region of Chincha, and that to the south, Colasuyo, region of Collao. Now, Chincha, listen, Chincha, Chin, Chi, Cha, China, take out the CH here. And Chincha, right? You take out the CH, what you get? You get China, China. You get China. Come on, guys, this is what I'm saying. They just told us they don't know the origin of the word China. They don't know the origin of the word China and the etymology online. So Chincha, China, the name of the region of the north of the southern Andes is pure Chinese. So-called Chinese. So-called Chinese. And the region itself is towards or partly in that western slope of the Peruvian Andes, compared to an artificial flower garden. The Chinese fruit of immortality is represented by a triple carpel, which suggests the tapioca plant, Jatropha manihot, because the Chinese sacred lichen tree, which before man has gathered its fruit, neither bird nor insect dare approach, seems to be a realistic expression of the tapioca plant. So even the fruit they're showing you, right, this Chinese fruit of immortality, guys, it's a plant, it's a fruit from the Americas, tapioca, which is poisonous until it has been manipulated and made fit for food by man. And as the Brazilian Americans have a tradition that the man who taught the cultivation of this plant went away north. Wow. You guys hear that? So even in the Brazilian, wow, the guy who cultivated this plant, he went away north. He went to Chincha or China, what today we know as China, but would return again. There is a possibility that the people of Chincha migrated and that the present word China may have been derived from Chincha, omitting the final CH. That's what I was saying. If you take out the CH, you get China, literally, guys. So, you know, when people move and then there's language barriers and time goes on, words get mistranslated or mispronounced. Omitting the final CH, vases or water vessels being as much a specialty with the Chinese as the water vessel was with the ancient inhabitants of Peru. Okay. Hey, Ershad. Hey, man, thank you, bro. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the love, Ershad. I had Ershad once in an interview in my Kurimeo meditations episodes. He was one of the guests. If you guys missed that, go check it out. Okay. I believe it was Narragansett, right? I forget. I think correct me if I'm wrong, from the Narragansett people. Ershad. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for that. May the Most High bless you. May the Great Spirit bless you, man. Thank you. Thank you for that, man. The idea of a Chinese connection having possibly existed between these parts is very much strengthened by the recently announced fact that some of the Western tribes of the Brazils are so like the Chinese in feature as to be almost identical. All right, that's a big one right there. This is something that I've been trying to tell you guys. Oh, you see somebody that looks so-called Asian or what you want to call Mongol, but I'm telling you this is the true old world. What if that look came out of here and went to what, you know, remember the original people of Asia are black folks, guys. Are black. Don't picture what, you know, what you think of a Chinese today. I can show you so many tribes in Africa that literally look like the ancient Chinese or ancient Japanese or ancient Cambodians, ancient Vietnamese, like their statues, like the Buddhas, right? I can show you so many people in Africa. So the Pan-Africans try to say, oh, they came out of Africa, look. Nah, bro, we had those features here. This is a true old world. We have many phenotypes here. A variety of phenotypes and complexions, just like in Africa, just like in Asia. We've already read the anthropological, ethnological books on ancient America. So what he just said here, he might be right. He might be right. The Chinese have had the following stages of writing. The pictorial passing into the symbolical, which may be classified as follows: High Antiquity, BC 2637 to 3369. According to the Chinese analysts, Medium Antiquity, BC 820, Low Antiquity, BC 227. There was again an alteration, BC 200, and the manner of writing then established is the one still in use. The way in which they expressed their triad of heaven, man, and earth, 3369 BC, was this. Heaven, by 3 horizontal lines slightly curved, man by a small figure of a man, and earth by the figure of a wild ox, on the body of which is represented a figure exactly similar to the one used by the Egyptian to signify the Nile, or the great river, wild ox, or buffalo, wild ox, buffalo, namely a circle enclosed in a cross. The Egyptians signified the Nile, namely a circle and cross. That's so you find this symbol, right, all through the mounds, right? When they're digging up the mounds and they're finding these vases, right? The vases have all these Egyptian hieroglyphic symbols, which one of them is the circle enclosed in a cross, which they also found in the Maya temples, which we showed, Lepler Jones showed us in the book Vestiges of the Maya, right? Meaning the civilized land. The ancient symbol of Egypt is this circle enclosed in a cross, which we have all over the Maya temples and all over the vases they found in the mounds, okay? In the mounds. Let me see if it comes up. Oops. There we go. So Mississippi Valley labeled civilized land by ancient Egyptians, crosses and vases, true old world. Let me see if I can show you some examples of what I'm talking about from this video. This is what I'm saying, guys. We've gone over so much info. This is what I'm saying. You think we're just going off one thing. People think we're literally just going off one thing. I'm gonna show you. This is from this book, first of all. Look, records of ancient races in the Mississippi Valley, being an account of some of the pictographs, sculptured hieroglyphics, symbolic devices, emblems, and traditions of the prehistoric races of America. Man, we got to get back into this book. I forgot all about it. We got so much drop from this book. Let me show you what I'm talking about, guys. Hold on. We can't make this up. We can't make this up. Yet it is little singular that the ornamentation in almost every particular of the American, right? Of the American mound pottery should be so exactly like that of Egypt and the East. Look, this is so, how many books do we got to show before these Pan-Africans stop being salty, empty their cup, humble themselves, understanding that they don't know everything, they have room to learn new things, and just listen. Wise people listen to others. Fools love airing out their opinions. Fools love airing out their opinions. But hold on, let me get to what I was saying. This is what they're finding in the mounds, guys, okay? Hold on. Let me just read a little bit here. In Europe, where it is ancient and common, perhaps it would be called a Greek cross. So this is what I was saying. They're literally talking about the cross in a circle. Look, this is what I'm saying. They're repeated, okay. With these thoughts occurring to us, having finished the examination of contents of the vase in question and carefully cleaned the soil from about it, this is what they're finding in the mounds, guys. Pay attention. Are they simply ornamental? Or do they have a greater meaning? There, repeated several times, is the cross enclosed in a circle. There, the cross enclosed in a circle. Cross enclosed in a circle. Go back to the article. Right? A figure exactly similar to the one used by the Egyptians to signify the noun, namely a circle enclosed in a cross. Come on, bro. Come on, guys. We can't make this up. Yeah, New England all over the Americas. This is what I'm saying. You find this in a lot of the pictographs, or what they're saying, inscriptions on the walls all over the Southwest, all over rocks and New England. You're right. We find them in the vases and the mounds. We find them in the walls and the temples of the Maya. Literally, that symbol is an American symbol. It's not in just a drawing. It's not just in the hieroglyphics over there, very two-dimensional. It's all over here, guys. Very ancient inscriptions, very ancient vases. So let's keep going. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you see, I remember things. How old is this video? 3 years ago, but I got this from, I think, an even older video, right? So let's keep reading. It says, so they're repeated several times is the cross enclosed in a circle. In Europe, where it is ancient and common, even in Europe it's ancient, right? And common, perhaps it would be called a Greek cross. But the same figure is seen on the pyramids and was a hieroglyph in Egypt some thousands of years ago. Where's the true Egypt, though? In fact, according to Wilkinson, a figure almost exactly like the enclosed cross on this burial vase from a mound on the Illinois River, right, Little Egypt, makes a part of the hieroglyphic name of Egypt, in which it is repeated 4 times. And the same reliable author, in speaking of the sacred cakes of the ancient Egyptians, with which the sacred bulls consecrated to the service of their god Isis were fed, and upon which there was made the same sign of the cross, says the cross cake was their hieroglyph for civilized land. That's what it means, guys. Civilized land. Civilized land they were talking about over here. Just because you find that symbol over there, they're just telling a story. Civilized land. The same figure of divided. Oh man, hold on. I gotta read that. So look, ancient Egyptians, what are we showing here? Let's just read. Let's just let Kurimeo talk a little bit. Hold on, guys. This is deep right here. X, and you see the symbol of the cross and the X. Look at, guys, the name of Egypt. Look, guys, the name of Egypt is the cross in a circle. And look what we find here. We got a feather. You guys didn't see the feather, right? Feathers. And then we got the huracan, right? With the spiral. The huracan, the eye of the hurricane. Huracan, Horus, eye of Horus, Horus Khan, the eye. Where's hurricanes? Are there hurricanes in modern Egypt today? Do hurricanes exist over there? We talking about Mi'kmaq. Yeah, we talking about that ancient so-called Egyptian, right? The Mi'kmaqs had it in their writings too, right? Look at this, the name of Egypt. Where is the real Egypt? This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Crossed in the circle. Ow. We heard about the owl earlier. Continuing the book, it says, and the same reliable author, in speaking of sacred cakes of the ancient Egyptians, with which the sacred bulls consecrated to the service of their god Isis, Isin, we'll see Queen Mu Isin, Isis' little sister, is that what it means? Were fed, and upon which there was made the same sign of the cross. Says the cross cakes was their hieroglyphic for civilized land. That's what that cross, you see that? In the circle, he's saying in Egyptian meaning, it meant that was a symbol or the hieroglyph for civilized land. Wherever you saw this, that meant civilized land. So we know we were very civilized here with the mound societies, the mound builders, very civilized. The same figure of divided circle, however, occurs in the alphabet or figurative writing of the Chinese and has a similar significance, being their emblem for land or country. Okay. The explanation was given to me by most intelligent and educated Chinaman that the cross in the circle had the simple meaning among his people of partition, signifying that their land was divided into fields. In other words, not wild, but a civilized country. Okay. You see, I agree. You guys see that? That's major drop. It even brought up the Chinese correlation that we're reading about right now. Literally, in other books, guys. But nobody talks about this. You think the Pan-Africans, you think Dog Papa knows any of this deep knowledge right here? Talking about everybody got a motherland. Yeah, but this is the motherland, the civilized country, the civilized land. The first one, agriculture, splitting the land in fields, agriculture, settling down, becoming civilized, the civilized land. All right? Did I make my point? This is a great video, guys. Make sure to watch it. A lot of you are new to my channel. You don't know this video even exists. This is how informed my followers are, but this is a lot of this info is hard to remember. Even for myself, even for my followers, there's so much information we've gone over, we can't remember everything that we've researched. It's literally the symbol of X-Men too, huh? It must have a meaning, right? So when we talk about an enclosed cross in a circle, right? All right, you guys got it? Hey, Nitzia, thank you. Thank you, sister. Thank you for that. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Tawada. Aqua. Tawada aqua. Thank you, sister. May the Most High bless you. May the Great Spirit bless you. Thank you for that. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the love. Thank you. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. Let's go back to the article. So we got a circle enclosing a cross, literally the name of Egypt or the Nile, right? So where's the true one? Exactly. There you go. The sons of Noah split the land. They would have it north, south. There you go. X marks the spot, right? In treasure maps, X marks the spot. The emblem of the Garden of Eden. We've gone over this. So the association of this figure of the cross and the circle with a wild ox is conventional, but the figure itself is very common, ornament or symbol upon the remains in Central America. And that there meant something extremely important is evident. All right, what did it mean? Civilized land. The first civilized land. From the fact that it is one of the earliest things we meet with in the Mexican's account of his wanderings before arriving at Mexico, as depicted by him in his picture writing. He usually begins with the man saved in a boat. Above this is a tree with the bird giving tongues. Then we have the people who had been born dumb, ready to set out upon their journey. Then a temple, then a pineapple, and a water vessel. Then the place of humiliation, expressed by a man prostrate on a rock with his head turned toward the next place, called the place of the grotto, expressed by a rock, and on the rock a cross within a circle. All right. Hey, Jay is, thank you, man. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate you very much, man. Blessings. Circle and cross also reps the earth cross of the Ibri Hebrew people. Hawa. Yeah. You already know, man. Already know. We know that the cross was a sacred symbol in America before the Spaniards came, all right? It has nothing to do with Christianity. The Peruvians had a very sacred one at Cusco, made of white marble, which they called crystalline. Jasper described Garcilaso de la Vega as being square, being as broad as it was long, about 3 fingers wide. And he further says that the cross had been for many ages sacred. For many ages sacred, okay? Like, this is primary sources, guys. These are like conquistadors, colonists, settlers, telling you they wrote this. They wrote these accounts saying that the cross was already here and that it had been for many ages very sacred, okay? There was a cross that I think was supposed to be in the cathedral in Cusco. See, to me, that building was already there. Because when you look at all drawings of Cusco, guys, when you look at all drawings of Cusco, it literally looks like a middle-aged town. It has streets, houses, towers, palaces, cathedrals. It even shows the 3 walls, the city of David. Like, guys, it had 7 or 8 gates, just like Jerusalem is described, with the gates going into the city. That's how it's drawn. And in this cathedral, they supposedly had this crystal, like, I think this is the one they're talking about, in the shape of a cross, which the Spanish actually kept and left it in the cathedral and made it into a Christian symbol. Made it into a Christian symbol. Definitely, it has nothing to do with Christianity. They just adopted the symbol. We have a form of a cross at Palenque called the Tree of Life. All right, even in Palenque, we've shown this one. Besides, many of their sepulchral chambers were cruciform in plan, and the Incas were always buried in the center of a cross within an oval form. All right, we went very deep into the symbols of the cross and Palenque. You know, when we read that book from what's it called? Dupois' expedition, Del Rio and Dupois' expedition and Palenque, and he was describing one of the temples actually looking like a cross, what they're talking about here. Okay, but one of the most unmistakable proofs of the importance of the cross as a religious symbol is to be found in the figure of an idol discovered by Mr. Stevens in Central America. Tashtahaja, they call it an idol, where the head is placed on a cruciform arrangement. This figure also has two horns or rays. Video bant faciem ingredientis. All right, that's Latin. That's from Exodus 34:35. Okay, whatever is being described in Exodus 34:35, guys, is what he's talking about here, is what they found in Central America. Pay attention. On one of the upper limbs of a cross, which stands between the legs of one of the figures of Copan, there is this cross within a circle, and also the spiral within the circle. In the finest head given in Mr. Stevens' work, unfortunately, only a fragment has horns. Now, it is striking and remarkable fact that the only figure in the least symbolized by the Chinese is Fohi, and that they represented him with penciling, the trigrams, and two small horns, such as we see on a young ox, okay? Fohi, remember, the founder, first king of China, he came from somewhere else. Remember, he said earlier, most likely the Americas. We see a young ox, buffalo. Didn't the Indians wear horns, buffalo, and all that? We find men represented with horns at Babylon and Nineveh. You guys understand? Horns associated with Moses and Fohi. Horn figures sculptured in ancient America. And horns worn even in America at the present day, where some distinguished chief will decorate his head with scraped buffalo horns, okay? Okay? You thought it was the devil. You thought it just meant the devil, right? They told her, oh, it just means the devil, man. Yeah, right. Remember, they demonized the indigenous people of the world, always. Make them into savages and demons, worshippers. Now also remember the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, right? I like to do this live because like you guys can see. The Aleph, Aleph, okay? The Aleph or alphabet, that's where you get alphabet from Hebrew. Aleph. What is the first letter? We just go to the very first thing that pops up here, right? You guys see? It's the horns, the Aleph, the A, the ox. The father, deity, strength, leader first. Aleph, Beth, alphabet, okay? This is another version. Let me show you. Paleo Hebrew, and a lot of these symbols you find in the inscriptions on rocks all over the Americas. Okay, all over the Americas. Oh, hold on. Let me open it better. Okay. Right. You see, ox head. Early, that's the earliest symbol. You see that? And then middle, where you get the A or the Paleo Hebrew, the so-called Phoenician. And you got the X, strong, power, leader. So guys, when you learn the alphabet, the original alphabet of the Hebrew letters, there's a story being told. Again, shout out to 432 The Drop Radio for breaking it down for us and helping us understand. It's so deep, guys. It's so deep. Now, when you go down to the H and V, right? What do you get? You get hey wah, hey wah, man with arms raised. Like he's praising, right? Like you give him praise up in the sky, like the Indians used to give praise while raising their hands up. Hey, look, reveal, breathe. Oh, wow. Secure breath. Secure breath. Wow. Yeah, it gets deep, guys. All right? It gets deep. Go back. So the ox is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, okay? Hey, Michael Severe, thank you, brother. Thank you for so much for that. May the Most High bless you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Keep up the great work. You know, I'm here. As long as we got internet, I'm gonna keep going, guys. You know? Thank you guys for all that. So what was it saying? So the Babylonians and all these and drawings are shown with horns, but in real life, even in the present day, American Indian chiefs still decorate their head with scraped buffalo horns. Again, one of the most deified persons in these regions, Bogota, was Bochica. All right, Nitzia? Bochica is Quetzalcoatl, it's the same deity, who taught the Chipka Indians, one of our people. So I descend in one of my, well, and many of my lines from the Huetar people of Costa Rica, indigenous tribe, and they were a Chipcha Indian-speaking nation who are related to people in Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador, right? So it says here, who taught the Chipcha Indians to paint a cross upon their garments. So who told them to paint crosses? Remember, Quetzalcoatl had a robe full of crosses. Remember, Quetzalcoatl was born of a virgin mother. Who is Quetzalcoatl? Who is Joshua? Who is the real Joshua? It gets deep. This is what I'm saying. When you try to separate history from the Bible, you're going to be missing a whole lot. Even today, I saw somebody upload something talking about we're not Hebrews, blah, 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 you know, missing a lot of context. So Bochica / Quetzalcoatl is literally is the same as Bochica, same as Veracocha in Peru, is Quetzalcoatl. All three are the same person, right? He taught them how to put a cross upon their garments, and they would appear to have known him by the name of Fo. So who's Fo he? The feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl. Who's the first king of China? Fo. The Bochica, listen, they even called Bochica Fo. Come on now, we can't make this up. Fo, or that divinity who was their patron of painters. But Fo is not so very unlike Fo he, who instructed the Chinese to paint their trigrams. Same things attributed to Fo he. Same things, guys. Come on, use your logic. If they're telling you that Fo he did not originate in China, where did he come from? And you find in references of all the symbology and mythology here in the Americas. Come on now. And I just showed you all the correlation on part 1 and this part 2 today, guys. We're going to 6 hours now altogether. Where I'm literally proving so much this is the true old world. If nobody want to see talking about we all got motherlands, that's not what we're talking about. You just being biased. You just want to stay stuck on your holding on to your Africa. Okay? Same thing. Who is Fo he? Now we know. Most likely Quetzalcoatl. As a proof that the cross upon the ancient figure of earth as represented by the Chinese upon a wild ox was intended to be marked expression, we have only to bear in mind that the following facts: a cross, or chi, in Chinese means 10, perfect. A cross upon the long horizontal mark, Tao, means earth. Wow. To express a superior man or saint man, a holy man. Is that why they associated with so-called Jesus? You see? Where the origin of these things are from, right? The Chinese employ a cross upon their first figure, a short horizontal mark or primeval reason. Thus, Earth was expressed with a cross which, with the Chinese, meant perfect, and with the Americans meant the tree of life or day. For the Mexicans employ a cross within a circle as the hieroglyphic of their day. Okay? So again, thus the earth was expressed with a cross. Remember, the earth or the civilized land, just like in Egypt, land. With the Chinese meant perfect. The perfect land, huh? Or the perfect earth. With the Americans meant the tree of life. Or day, for the Mexicans employed a cross within a circle as the hieroglyphic of their day, which was divided into 4 parts: sun, moon, setting, and midnight. And this would be a more early expression than employing the cross to signify the 4 cardinal points. Okay? For it is obvious that such effects as the first days produced would be more easily observed than the effects produced by the 4 seasons, or than the 4 winds would be. The 4 winds, just like in Cusco. This cross within the circle was also the Egyptians' hieroglyphic for Nile, or for literally for Egypt, or the civilized land, upon which the Egyptian depended for his life or daily existence. Come on now. The Mississippi, great river. It is therefore most probable that this peculiar association of the cross and wild ox was derived from America. From America. From America. There are many reasons for thinking so. Fohi is considered by the Chinese to have domesticated 6 animals, the ox being one. All right, the ox, the buffalo. It is uncertain whether it was the Persian or Chinese who first domesticated the buffalo in the Old World, but as I find it associated with the cross within the ring, the two taken together, the buffalo wild or wild ox, and the cross within the ring, point to America. Okay? Point to America. That's why when you get the Aleph Beth and the first letter, the ox head, ox, it's going to point to the Americas as the origin for that. And we find that symbol all over the inscriptions and rocks all over the Americas. The cross within the ring being there a common character, as well as the buffalo. The cross within the ring is a common character here in the Americas, guy, as well as the buffalo. But the cross within the ring is solitary and an exceptional one with the Chinese. That the cross within the circle should have been adopted as a religious emblem in South America by its earliest inhabitants is very natural. The following description of the 2 constellations of the Southern Cross, the following description of the constellation of the Southern Cross and the dark spot known to sailors as the coal sack, seen from Cusco, from where? From the navel of the earth, from the middle or belly button of the earth, will account for it. Mr. Vignet thus describes it. It lies on the left of the cross as it faces an observer, and nearly touches the lower part of its major axis, which it equals in height. The curious abruptness and freshness of the oval-shaped and broken outline of its entire circumference suggests the idea of its having been formed by violence. It looks as if the canopy of heaven had been shot through. The edges of 2, if not of 3 folds of strata, so to speak, of which the Milky Way is seemingly composed, are seen on the left side more particularly and receding perspective, and gradually leading to and blending into what appears to be black, lightless space beyond. Placed at the South Pole and so unlike anything else in the sky, it has the aspect of special design. Where all around is for design, it can be imagined to be a place of exit or ingress for mighty Russian forces. The Adit, from light to a Tophet of utter darkness, or a black Gehenna, with the cross shining with a purpose in front of it. It is reported by the Chinese historians that in the 5th year of the reign of Zhao, or as they say, 53 BC, supposedly, a barbarian from the south, a barbarian of the family of Yoi Tichang, brought as a present a great tortoise. A turtle, huh? A divine one, 1,000 years old, and it measured more than 3 feet long by 3 feet wide. Wow, big one. Having upon his back written the history of the world, from its commencement to the present time, which Zhao ordered to be transcribed, okay? Turtle Island. We all... Turtle Island, huh? The Chinese encyclopedia placed this kingdom of a maritime one in the South Sea, but there appears to be the same difficulty even amongst the Chinese themselves to determine its position, as there has been to fix the exact spot of the fortunate isles. Now, how much more immediately and intimately the tortoise entered into the religious myths of America than into those of any other people, we may reasonably infer from the remains at Copan, where we find a splendid example of one used as an altar. They got a, come on now, they got a turtle used as an altar. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You see that, guys? A Louis Flores production, man. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Most High bless you. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So in Copan, they got a actually stone altar in the shape of a turtle, right? In another case, we find the tortoise taking the place of a man's head, which undoubtedly alludes to that part of the history of the hero god, spoken of in the sacred book of the Quiche people, right? Quiche, Quisha, Popovu, who lost his head, the place being taken by a tortoise, when after a time the tortoise becomes smitten to shivers, and the hero god reappears as if nothing had happened. So in the early part of the sacred myths of the Toltecan Americans, we find an account of a son of the sun being tempted to eat a large artificial tortoise. All right, you guys hear that? By which he dies and his power is destroyed. Whatever symbolisms are conveyed under this form of a tortoise, whether the tortoise is the type of a race or a belief type of race from Turtle Island, the symbol is distinct and has nothing to do with the incarnations of the Indians. The American tortoise is too idiomatic to be derived either from India, they're talking about Hindustan, or from such forms as are to be found of it in Greece, okay? You know, if we're talking about turtles, you know that's from here. If it was a national type of a race, then Yoi Tichang and his tortoise may be accounted for by his having come from some place where the tortoise was a religious and national type, okay? Such as is indicated at Copan, and the tortoise itself might have been a tortoise altar, similar to what we find there with hieroglyphics inscribed upon its back. We must bear in mind that the Chinese are one of the oldest families in the old world, that they are considered to belong to the Mongolian race. You know that whole how they break up people into Mongolian, African, and Caucasian, right? Like that's pseudo, guys. That's bad. That's bad ethnology. That was made up in the 1800s. You can't group so many distinct types of people and nations of the world into 3 different groups. And Pan-Africans and all these people that really don't understand stuff still do that. Even mostly racist people. Very racist, actually. So they're considered, right? Doesn't mean they are. Again, remember what Mongol meant? It meant great or great empire. Mongolia, the country, just got its name, just like India in the 1900s. And that the inhabitants of the greater part of North America and even of the South are of the same race, dodge the hijack, that whilst the Chinese have progressed, the American Mongolians, again, dodge the hijack, have retrograded, and that as it is the usual law for young people or a colony to progress and for the original people to die out, there is greater reason to believe the Chinese and Mongolian races to have been immigrants into China, not the other way around, than to believe that the American Mongolians were immigrants from China, okay? So dodge your own hijacks. He's telling you right there, don't think just because you're calling somebody over here looks like a Mongol, what you think a Mongol looks, that they came from somewhere else, all right? That's a big one right there. That's your own stereotypes, your own hijacks, your own prejudices. Whether the Chinese were of celestial origin and received their doctrine, Jinche, Jinche, do unto others as you would be done by, from the place indicated on the northwestern slopes of the Andes, research will show, but that they have steadily progressed since we know of them in the old world is proved by the fact that they now number 360 millions of the human race, existing as a kingdom which has outlived the Egyptians, the Babylonian, the Phoenician, the Mexican, and the Peruvian empires. All right, and that's the end of this chapter, guys. He has some side notes or an appendix after this, but it's not like drop. He's just talking in general info. But this was the main part of the book. Let me just show you. See, we're literally done. All right, guys. So if I do see anything else on the following pages, I will definitely do another video. But we are 3.5 almost hours in, and this is a great time to stop. I'm so glad I did part 1 and part 2, because then this would have been like a 6-hour video. People are not going to sit down and watch this. Okay? People are not going to sit down to watch this. And I hope, guys, that, I mean, you appreciate, like, this book is so ill. Like, I'm going to share this on my Patreon for sure. With my Patrons, I always share all these books I got and articles there on my Patreon page. All right, if you want to support that way as well, you can on my Patreon page, and you'll have access to so many books and some exclusive videos. Okay. So again, this was the book or article, American Antiquities, or the New World, the old. Okay, the New World is actually the old, and the old world is actually the new. This was by John T.C. Heaviside. All right, rest in power, because he's most likely gone by now. This was written again in 1868, guys. 1868, as you see here. 1868. He had so much drop back then when you actually had to travel to different libraries of the world to get dropped. You had to actually go and do your own archaeology. It's not like today where you can Google stuff, right? Like I was showing you today, right? You know, this was so much drop. I saw the title of this article or book and I was like, wow, this gotta be drop. And I was right. I didn't even read it. I was just like, this gotta be drop. I'm gonna read this with everybody. And I just love how I was able to reference a lot of things. He brought up so many things that reminded me of past research, past videos, and we got a lot of context. We got a lot of context. So imagine somebody in 1868, we don't know about this. Why didn't teach us this stuff? Why didn't they teach us this stuff in school, guys? Why don't they still teach us this stuff? Why haven't they changed the textbooks? Oh, the government tells you the truth, right? The mainstream narrative is always the truth, right? Oh, they're gonna tell you the truth, right? But they talking about out of Africa theories, right? They're talking about that you come from apes. They say you evolved from apes in Africa. Ape men, monkey bones. None of those are human. None of those bones they say are the oldest humans are actually human. They're all apes. And that's where you wanna go off. All these Pan-Africans, right? Pan-Asians, Pan-Africans, Pan-Hindus. Everybody's a little biased. But we have a reason to be biased now. That's the difference. Yeah, we biased, but we have a reason and we got receipts for days, for years. We got receipts for years, and it keeps going. Who's to know that I was gonna find an article like this that literally saying America's a true old world? Come on now. 1868, man. Come on, man. Wow. Yeah, this was such a great reading. And I'm so glad we read it. I'm so glad we found this article. I wouldn't have known about this article if I wasn't reading another book, which mentioned it a little bit. And I was like, let me look into that. That sounds interesting. I didn't even know the name of the book. I just said John T. Heaviside said that something related to the Egyptians and ancient Americans. I was like, oh, he said something like that. Let me go see what he really said. And then I actually Googled his name and I put PDF and see what came up. And this is what came up, guys. I don't have a secret vault. A lot of people say I have the secret vault because I'm in Central. Like, come on now. Stop being silly. That's just called real research. Unbiased real research. We're talking about primary sources and stuff. Real research like this guy did. He did real research. His conjectures are so profound. His conjectures have receipts, just like we do as well, okay? Just like we do as well. Wow. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you. Thank you for the love. Thank you for everything. All right. What do you guys think of the article? I mean, how much drop did we go over in the last 6 hours, right? Checking the bibliography, okay. Yeah, go ahead, that's what I'm saying. We gotta check the research. Shout out to Olmec 12. Research the research. We actually started today's video with an intro beat called Wata. That water, just to get the flow going, right? That water from Olmec 12, he made the beat. All right, we're gonna go out with another beat from Science. He's on the chat. Science, all right. Science, provided me a lot of beats, hooked me up, and I appreciate him for that. Okay, appreciate him very much for that, and I appreciate you guys for sticking around, the ones who did for 6 hours and learning together, learning with me. Okay, we went over so many things. You could literally watch these 2 videos over and over and learn something new every time, because we went over so much information, right? We're literally proving what he wrote. We literally have done the research. Before I even read this article, we already had done, how did we conclude the same things? Because when you follow truth, when you do real research, when there's only one truth, guys, there's only one truth, and it's gonna lead, it's gonna come, it's gonna show you that it comes right to the ancient Americas. Just like Graham Hancock concluded in his recent book, America Before. After all those years that he was looking for a lost, ancient, unified civilization that taught everybody all over the world, he finally realized, right? He finally realized that it was America, the true motherland, grandma land, grandma. Not just any motherland, but the motherland, all right? So shout out to Graham Hancock, shout out to the author to today, John T.C. Heaviside, and shout out to everybody who has helped and contributed to this research, to this knowledge over the years. Shout out to all of you guys for being here with me, learning and motivating me to continue. I appreciate you guys very much. Shout out to all my moderators in the live chat. Shout out to all my channel members. Thank you for your support. Thank you to all my Patreons. You guys are holding me up. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for anybody who donated today. You guys bless me so much. It's overwhelming. You know, it makes me want to kind of like, it gets me emotional, it gets me tearful, makes me want to cry, and a cry of joy, you know, tears of joy, right? Like, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for helping me. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Again, we're going to go out with a beat from Science. Let them know what you think of it. Shout out to Science. He's in the chat. One of the moderators, all right? We gotten over so much drop, guys. Feel free to come back and review these 2 videos anytime, all right? Share. Make sure you share them. Say, hey, you got to watch these 2 videos. Just pay attention a little bit. It's like a one-on-one crash course. America's the true old world, okay? Let them know. Take your time. You want to start out in his channel with something, start out with these 2 videos and then go back so you can see all the context in between, all the other research, all right? Again, much love and respect. Pura vida, mi gente. Hawaii. Yeah. Wow. Let's go.
Ah.